Well, happy Monday, everybody. And Old Man Rivers is getting it done. Breaking news for Jets fans. Steve Wilks out of here, baby. And injuries, the story of Week 15 in the NFL. The Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital live starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. 'Cause when it comes for, it's always gonna do. And Boy Green is always on the scene. And we're gonna always bring it to you live streaming. So get ready. Get ready, 'cause here they come.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. I'm the Manchild, Jim Lurch, along with my partner, Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. Good morning, Boy Green. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. The Jets
All right,
in
we'll
a
get
three...
right to the hot off
Yeah.
the presses news.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
broke a couple of minutes ago, and Aaron Glenn already has spoken about it. Steve Wilks has been ousted as defensive coordinator of the New York Football Jets. So, Boy Green, we've been talking about this for weeks. Somebody's got to be the scapegoat here. Somebody's got to go. And Wilks was clearly the guy that was, the all targets, all arrows were being aimed at. And finally, it has come down before the season has even ended. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, wow. Again, a 3-11 Jets team always keeps things interesting with the draft talk we had earlier today and now this. I will say I am mildly surprised that this happened with 3 games left to go.
Like, why not wait till the end of the season?
Right. It's over. Like,
It's kind of token.
Yeah, right. But the only, and I talked about this on the show, so it's funny how this all worked out. I said this on the morning show. I said the only way you can explain it to me, because here it is, right? The Jets are 3-11. That's a horrific season. Aaron Glenn, when Woody Johnson comes into his office and goes, "What the hell?" If I'm Aaron Glenn, before this news that came out this morning where he gets fired, I'm like, "Oh, Steve Wilks, I trusted him. He was my guy. He's the reason. Push him in front of the bus. He's the reason. You replace the new guy this offseason, all is well." Because I think it was only bad news outside of this one silver lining I'm going to explain, which the Jets did do, is that if Aaron Glenn fired Steve Wilks, which he has, and takes over the play calling himself, and it has a dramatic improvement immediately, everyone's going to say, "Well, why didn't you do this sooner, man?"
Right.
And then he catches heat. If he took over himself, I'm talking about AG taking over play calling, and it was the same or worse, geez, this Aaron Glenn guy isn't as much of a defensive genius as we all thought. Also
Right.
bad. So I thought it was only bad. But the silver lining was if Aaron Glenn gave someone else an opportunity on the staff, you've got 3 games, figure it out. If you show anything, maybe you're in the conversation when we're finding a permanent DC. And that is what Aaron Glenn announced. So Steve Wilks is out. He is fired. Believe it or not, Lurch, I have it in my story I wrote this morning. Let me make sure I have the number correct. This is for Steve Wilks. So this is the 6th job in a row that he's been one and done. 6th job in a row that he's been there and then fired at the end or before the end of the season. So that's crazy. Shout out to Rich Samini for that stat. That's a wild stat.
Yeah,
That he's been
I mean,
one and done 6 times in a row. And just real quick,
is-
Lurch,
yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Harris is now taking over. He's on the
Okay.
Jets staff. So Chris Harris is the DB coach and passing game coordinator. He got to call plays for the Jets defense in the preseason. This is the silver lining, giving someone young on the staff, relatively young, an opportunity to call it, and he gets some experience in the final 3 games. That's part of the evaluation process. So that's the one tip of the cap I want to give the Jets. That's the part that would have made sense if they did it, and they did.
And you begin building that bridge of connection. Now there's no guarantee here, obviously, that he's going to continue. He's the interim guy. I'm sure they'll give him a look, but will they go for a big name guy or not? I mean, look, and well said here by one of our commenters. I'll pop it up here. J Boy says, if you're firing a DC or an OC in U1, it's the head coach that's the problem. I mean, ultimately, it could be. I mean, it is not a good sign when a head coach goes out and plucks a guy. And Wilks was definitely a guy that it seemed that Glenn, he's defended him earlier in the season, was saying things that, I trust this guy. I know this guy. I have a relationship with this guy. And then the guy doesn't go right. It is a reflection on the coach. Glenn isn't going anywhere at this point. But I do think that it's, there's a little bit of I don't want to call it a siren, but there's certainly a murmur in the background about, part of a head coach's job, Boy Green, is to hire good people. Okay,
Well,
that is part of the job. Hiring is part of a very important piece of any head coach being effective. And this one is an abject failure for Aaron Glenn. We have to at least recognize that, even though Glenn is not going anywhere.
That's true. But I want to bring this comment back up from J-Boy. If that's true, then Dan Campbell, who fired Anthony Lane after his first year as the offensive coordinator, he hired some guy. Let me make sure I pronounce this correctly, because I'm a little funky on name pronunciation. Ben Johnson? Oh, so he fired Anthony Lynn after year one. Aaron Glenn, by the way, was on that staff. He saw it happen, and they hired Ben Johnson, and that was a thrilling success. Lions have blown up, and now Ben Johnson is the head coach of Chicago Bears.
It can go right.
So it did go right.
You can't exonerate the coach for making a bad hire. It has to be raised that while Steve Wilks certainly did a poor job in getting this defense to live up to its potential, ultimately the head coach still has the responsibility ultimately for A, hiring that guy, and B, if that guy wasn't doing it right, to override some of the decision making that guy is doing, right, in order to make it right. So
right, yes, and I would say this, and Philly Noodles, I agree. That's what I was going to say. I think also a good sign of a coach that when you make a decision, you're willing to change, right? It made a lot of sense. Surface hire Steve Wilks. He was a former NFL head coach. Aaron Glenn has never been a head coach.
A lot of experience.
To have someone that experience on the staff made sense. Steve Wilks has been a defensive coordinator for much of the last 30 years. That's a lot of experience. So if any guy you could say, oh, I'm good. AG, I'm not going to call plays, but I trust Steve Wilks. Look, he's done it for 30 years. He should be good. There were some red flags, obviously, being one and done 5 times before getting hired by the Jets, and now a 6th time. That's a red flag for sure. But I respect leaders that say, hey, man, I know I went down this path, and these people in these positions never love to admit that they were wrong, either a head coach or a general manager. And clearly he's admitting he was wrong. He went down this path. It didn't work. I'm firing him. It's on me. Now I'm going to replace him. Now we're going to have a very magnifying glass over the top on AG saying, well, now you better get this next one right. But yes, he does deserve blame for hiring Wilks, and it terribly not working out. Same way, in a different way, Justin Fields. Aaron Glenn picked Justin Fields. He's my guy. And Justin Fields was terrible. So that also is on his ledger of going in a direction and it not working out. So yes, there are clear stains here that happened. Yes.
No question about it. But the Jets had to do this. The defense was not working. And I always say, if it's inevitable, you might as well just do it.
Sure.
Rather than waiting it out just because there's some date out there in the future. It's the end of the season, or we want to just finish this up. It really doesn't matter. It's the same thing as the Giants. Inevitably, if they were letting Brian Dable go, you just move on. And, Mike Kafka might not be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it doesn't matter. Like, you just get past that era of your franchise and you start moving into a different era. And even if that interim guy is not permanent, it doesn't matter. It gets everybody moving forward. You're not stuck in the mud. You're not continuing what has proven to be a bad culture. You try to change the culture. And that's clearly part of what Aaron Glenn is doing here. Now, he needs to choose wisely here, because if he hires unwisely twice as a defensive-minded guy who obviously has relationships with other defensive guys out there, then that becomes an even bigger red flag for the coach's inability to hire well. And I mean, that is, again, one of the chief roles for any head coach, is to be a good hirer. You can't just be a good coach. You can't just do X's and O's. You can't just do, your personal relationships with players. You have to be a good hirer. That is part of it. Talent evaluation is a part of it. Being part of the draft equation is part of it. Developing talent is part of it. Coaches have a lot of hats they have to wear, and they all matter just as much as the other. So Aaron Glenn needs to, as you said, learn from this Boy Green, and hopefully he does. He chooses wisely here the second time, and then all can be forgiven. But if he chooses poorly again, as the knight in the cave would say at the end of the Indiana Jones, I think it's number 4, right? Knight was it? Crusade, the crusade at the end. He chose poorly. He chose wisely. All right. So he needs to choose the right chalice. Okay. And not the bad chalice. Otherwise, he will disintegrate and be gone. Yes.
Well, I've got a dream candidate that
let's hear this. Let's come right out of the box with a hiring suggestion here for the New York Football Jets. Okay.
Which, again, you know, when you have a dream candidate, you're like, wow, Paul, you must have been thinking about this for a while. Well, Steve Wilks, sorry, pal. I've been dreaming of the next one in the middle of this one. And to me, the guy's name is Raheem Morris. He's currently the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
He's going to get fired.
And I think he's going to get fired. Nice win on Thursday night. Thank you for Kyle Fitz and the fantasy team. I really appreciated that. But I think he's getting fired. Where is Raheem Morris from? Do you have any idea, Lurch?
I bet he's from Jersey.
He was born in Newark, New Jersey,
There you go,
and went
Jersey.
to high school in Irvington, New Jersey. He went to college at Hofstra. He's a former player. He played in the league. He is a longtime coach, a longtime defensive coordinator. Sean McVay had wonderful things to say about him.
Was he with the Rams before he became the head coach of Falcons? Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. That's where he's at most recently. And also way back when, he got a chance to be a head coach after John Gruden. He was a head coach for a couple of years there. He was super young, and he admitted that he wasn't ready for that role, but he was hired for that role. He's like, sweet, I can be a head coach. It's great. In his early 30s. And he's just had this really interesting history. So he's a guy who's proven. Sean McVay loved him in Rams land.
Any relationship that you're aware of between him and Aaron Glenn? Because connections do matter in this world when it comes to especially hiring coordinators. Let's face it. All right. You and I are running something. All right. Let's just take the show. All right. We run this show. Okay. And we're hiring some producers. All right. We're big time now. We've got 25,000 subscribers.
Oh, great.
Working with gas. Everything's great. Okay. And we say, hey, man, let's invest here in our business a little bit, man. Let's get out. Let's crank out some more content. Let's make our videos saucier. All right.
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to sit down and we're going to try and hire people. When we sit down and talk to those people, okay, they're going to do an interview. We're going to talk to them in the interview. But there may be some people on that list that, I've already know from the classroom. You already know from your heavy.com world, right? And you're like, no, the person's a grinder and they really work hard. And you've seen some of their videos and you're like, wow, man, they know how to produce videos and they did some really cool creative stuff. Are those people not going to move to the top of the list? Of course they are, right?
Yeah.
Because we have a relationship with them. Well, number one, we know what kind of worker they are to a certain degree. And number two, we probably know a lot about their personality and whether we're going to get along with them, whether they're going to be able to be independent or whatever it is that we're looking for in the job description. Well, same thing here, right? So relationships matter a lot when it comes to coaching, especially when it comes to head coaches, hiring coordinators. So I often say, is there a thread there? Did Aaron Glenn at some point cross paths with Morris? Were they on the same staff somewhere? Were they roommates in college? I mean, we've seen it all out there. Who ends up getting together with each other, Boy Green? Oftentimes, it's not the stranger who did a great job over there. And I go, ooh, admiration there. Don't know him at all, but let me try him. Never a good idea to do that, okay? Or rarely that works. Let me get the guy who was my roomie, who I know every dirty habit about, and I know what he's going to do when he comes into my building. I always think it's better than that. So are you aware, is there any relationship between Glenn and Raheem Morris?
Knowing it before, then scouring it again to make sure I didn't overlook anything. It does not appear there's any direct correlation, but a lot of their mentors are the same. A lot of their branches are next to different trees that they've both worked around. So I think that's something to factor in. But yes, to me, that's my dream guy. There's a New Jersey, a homecoming connection. He could rebuild himself and maybe wants to be a head coach again. I don't know. This was or is, he hasn't been fired yet, but this is his second.
It can be, dare I say, a friend of a friend, right?
Sure, it definitely could. I mean, that's what Wilks was.
Hey, Paul, you know that guy? Well, I don't directly, but my buddy has worked with him for like 7 years, and he raves about it. Okay, that's good. All right,
that's
he's
enough,
moving to the top of the list. So it doesn't have to be somebody that you room with. I'm just using that as an example.
No, I understand.
That's the way a lot of these hires actually happen. It's
of course
it is for lack of a better way of saying it, coaching and coaching circles is the good old boys network, and I don't see it ever changing. All right, it may not be cool that that's the case. The people who work hard in other places but don't know anybody, don't climb to the highest ladder or the highest rung of the ladder because they don't know anybody up there. But there is a lot of that who I know that goes on out there in terms of how people get hired, particularly in NFL assistant coaching jobs. Relationships is critical to that situation.
Yes.
So we'll monitor this, but it's a fascinating development and a cool breaking news thing. Go ahead, BG.
Yeah. Well, one last thing I want to say, and again, keep your comments coming. If you have more Wilks stuff to get to, we'll get to it as well. I think the one when I saw the tweet, it happened. Aaron Glenn's presser started. I said, oh, what's that on Twitter? Whoa, Wilks has been fired. Shout out to Brian Costello of the New York Post, who broke that news seconds before AG broke it to the rest of us. Was relief. That was the first emotion. That was the first thought in my head. And the reason for that is just because it seems obvious to the rest of the world that someone should be fired doesn't mean someone will be fired. So the fact that Steve Wilks has actually been fired is like, oh, thank God, because he had been terrible. We go back to AG, right, where he was in Detroit on the other side, while Dan Campbell decided to move on from Anthony Lynn because the offense wasn't going the direction he wanted. He replaced him with Ben Johnson. Aaron Glenn performed very poorly in his first year as a defense coordinator for Dan Campbell. Dan could have moved on from AG too, and he didn't. He trusted him. He believed in him. He says, I believe in you. You're going to turn this around. AG gave that same Dan Campbell speech a couple weeks ago when Wilks came under fire. He said, hey, man, I hired Wilks, and I'm going to let him see it through, basically. I'm paraphrasing. And obviously he didn't. So the fact that Wilks was fired today means that they're going to hire a new person coming up next year. And to me, that's a relief because I'm glad they didn't keep him. I'm glad that Aaron Glenn read the room and said this would have been a disaster. Because, what if they bring Wilks back in 2026 and then 5 games in, you're like, oh, boy, this guy stinks. We got to move on. You screw up 2026. So I want to give AG credit for pulling the trigger here. It's, we're 10 days from Christmas. The NFL is a cold-blooded business. But he did what was right for the team, and that's important.
All right, there you go. All right, fantastic. So breaking news there. Boy Green, let's jump into comments. There are some people commenting on this, so I want to get to some of them. One of them I liked here. Let me pounce one up first, and then you can whip through the others that you want to address here.
Yeah.
If the Browns clean house, I want Schwartz as our defensive coordinator. I love those grizzled veterans like a Jim Schwartz. I mean, here's a guy that clearly has had success in multiple places running defenses. It's just like Steve Spagnuolo and what he's done now in Kansas City. If that staff would have come apart, that guy became available, I'd be all over that too. I like these grizzled veterans, and certainly Wilks would actually be one of those types of guys. It just didn't work out with Wilks. But I love the aggressive style of a Jim Schwartz. I love the aggressive style of a Steve Spagnuolo. So if I'm searching for defensive coordinators, I like aggressive guys. I like guys that throw the kitchen sink at you sometimes and really, really try to confuse the offense, because I think every good defense needs to do that once in a while.
Shout out to Easy on YouTube. I would say Jim Schwartz is a better Steve Wilks. What do I mean by that? Jim Schwartz way back in the day, people are going to forget this, but Jim Schwartz was a head coach. He was the head coach of the Lions way back in the day. So he's been a head coach before. Again, I think that would be valuable for Aaron Glenn to have someone on the staff that's been there, done that. Good things, bad things that have happened, so he can bounce things off of. And Schwartz is a better, more proven defensive coordinator. Lurch, you mentioned it. He's been successful in multiple stops. That, to me, is very intriguing. And Cleveland has been really good on defense. I know they got blown out yesterday by the Bears, 31-3, but still, Jim Schwartz has done magnificent work defensively. So, yeah, Jim Schwartz would be a high name on my list. So the key, of course, to that is Kevin Stefanski getting fired and the entire staff shakes free. If Stefanski doesn't get fired, that's not going to happen. But I like that name. That's a good name. So, sure, Jim Schwartz. And I'm open to more ideas. Give me ideas. We should have open conversations to see who some of those names are out there in the universe for sure.
Yeah, okay. All right, so plenty of cherry picking to do. You want to throw up anything else?
Yeah, sure. A couple more comments. I see Philly Noodles. I guess we spoke it into existence. It's funny on the morning show, we explore topics and then things happen later in the day. So, okay, I want to speak into existence. I'm getting a raise. Good fortune is coming my way. We'll see if I can speak some of that into existence. Philly Noodles, I like that a lot. Old Yank says, I like that AG will be helping him. Yes, for clarity. So Chris Harris is the new defensive coordinator for the Jets for the last 3 games of the season. AG says he will help him in that role, but he clearly said that Chris Harris will be calling plays. AG is not calling plays. He's just helping him. AG is a former defensive coordinator himself. He's helping him. I think that is good. So I just want to make sure that we threw that out in the universe to make that clear. Chris Harris, again, he is currently serving as the Jets DB coach and passing game coordinator, but he will now be the defensive play caller for the final 3 weeks of the season. And those final 3 games, by the way, are at New Orleans, home for the New England Patriots, at Buffalo. Very difficult challenges for 2 of the 3, and the Saints are playing very well. They just took out the Bucks and the Panthers in back-to-back games. They've won 3 of 5, so that will be a tough challenge. Tyler Shuck, a rookie, coming through. But yes, I wanted to throw that one out there as well.
All right, here's one here. What about the Chargers DB coach? That defense is menacing. The Chargers DB coach is a guy named Steve Clinkscale. I don't know a lot about Clinkscale. Obviously, Jesse Minter is the DC, unless he was talking about the DC. Jesse Minter wouldn't leave. So if that was a typo, he would move laterally. Yeah. Number one, he's friends with Harbaugh. Essentially, they were together in Michigan, and then he came with him, right? I think there's the Michigan connection between those
there
two
is
guys.
that. Yeah, right? There is.
So I don't see him leaving Harbaugh. and they're having a good amount of success, and especially considering all the injuries and everything that they've had. So I don't know much about Steve Clinkscale. Let me get a little. I'll get a little bio here on.
Yeah,
the Boy
please
Green
do.
for the
While you're
Chargers.
doing that, I'm just scouring the rest of the Chargers coaching staff to see if he was talking about someone else. I will say I don't think it's a defensive coordinator name, but interesting. Navarro Bowman, who is a superstar with the 49ers. Again, he obviously has a connection with Harbaugh. He's there as their linebackers coach, so I love former players that are worked in there as well. Jesse Minter's dad, Rick Minter, is on the staff. He's a senior analyst. I imagine he's not going anywhere. He wants to keep hanging out with his son. You got Robert Muschamp. You got a lot of legacy names in here I see on the defensive coaching staff. So maybe that's some of who he could be talking about. I don't mind plucking from a smart tree. And again, to your point, Jesse Minter would not make a lateral move because that could be blocked by the Chargers. So DC to DC, that won't be happening unless, as we mentioned in the Browns case, if Stefanski gets fired, the entire coaching tree can shake free. But picking people from the Jesse Minter tree and the Chargers defense has been really good. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. That's
Clinkscale is another Michigan connection. So he came with Harbaugh from Michigan. He's been coaching 23 years, all at the collegiate level before he finally now came to the Chargers. So he doesn't have a deep pedigree in terms of pro coaching and NFL coaching. He was the co-defensive coordinator in his last year at Michigan before he made the jump. The rest is all college stuff. He was at Cincinnati, Kentucky, Western Carolina, all the way back to Toledo, so and even Illinois. So a very long journey, 23 years in college. Don't know much about Steve Clinkscale there, but that's an interesting
I don't
one
either.
To throw out there. Okay, we'll take it. I'm assuming that's who he meant in saying the DB coach, unless he was talking about the DC. But like I said, the DC would not come over. He's a close friend of Harbaugh's. He's not going to go laterally for DC. If it was a head coaching job, that'd be a different story. Go ahead.
And then one more name. I see Charles Henderson on our YouTube channel. By the way, thank you guys so much. We have a couple hundred people in the room. Thanks for supporting. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute. I'll also tell you guys about a Jets giveaway before we move on to another topic that we're doing here on the channel. More on that in a second. First day of free agency. Let's go get Buda Baker for starters. Yeah, a talented superstar safety for the Arizona Cardinals. The Jets need a defensive overhaul, and the firing of the coach is the defensive coordinator is the first step. I mean, they're going to blow up. They need to blow up their linebacker room. They need new safeties. They probably need another new corner. They need better pass rushers. I mean, there is an absolutely unbelievable whirlwind of stuff they need to do. But I like Buda Baker. He's a talented guy and a culture setter on the back end of the defense. So that could be very interesting. All right, Lurch, let's do this. Just because we're here on the channel, we're talking Jets right now. Let me bring it up here. All right, here is our YouTube channel, folks. We're currently streaming in a lot of different places. Boy Green's YouTube channel, Boy Green Twitter, the @MC Show Digital YouTube channel as well. So you could have come here a lot of different ways. But folks, we need you to subscribe to that YouTube channel on your screen. That's youtube.com/MC Show Digital. I'll also drop it in the YouTube link as well here in just a moment. If you're one of our first 450 subscribers, I'm doing a Jets giveaway. I'll go full screen on myself here. If you're one of our first 450 subscribers, I'm giving away this piece of Jets history.
Nice.
The 1972 New York Jets official yearbook cover. That's got 2 Hall of Famers on it, Joe Namath and John Riggin. So we're giving this away. And shout out, as a matter of fact, Joey Matesic, who won our Yankees raffle for 400 subscribers. He donated this and some other cool items to
He donated stuff to you, and then he won a prize here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and he won a prize here. And he said,
know that.
And he said, I can either keep this myself, this and other items he gave me, or give them away for future giveaways. And I'm selfish, so I definitely wanted to keep this myself. But I'm a man of the people. So
That's awesome.
Again, if you're one of our first 450 subscribers, I will ship this out to you. It's a piece of history. It's a beautiful cover to make sure no one's grubby hands gets on it. So again, subscribe to that YouTube channel on your screen. That's youtube.com/@MC Show Digital. We still have about 40 slots or so left. So again, it's first come, first serve. But if you're subscribed to our channel, you'll be eligible for all our other future free giveaways here on the channel. But we have about 408 subscribers at the start of the show. So again, if you're one of the first 450, you have a chance to win that. We will draw that and pick out a winner. So folks, make sure you take full advantage of that. While we're talking Jets, want to make sure we got that in.
Isn't that cool that someone who gave is now getting? See, what comes around
Pay it
goes
forward,
around.
100%.
Crazy. Joey
Yeah.
was completely drawn randomly, and the fact that someone who gave, all right, is getting is really amazing, and it makes the Christmas thing even more special.
100%. I was just going to say that 10
All
days.
right,
from
we got a
Christmas
lot to
makes
get
a
to,
lot of sense.
Boy Green. Before we do, though, I have a pile of stuff sitting next to me.
Oh.
Before the show, I was like, all right, let me just get down there and do some stuff. So I told you I want to start giving away some stuff again to try to incentivize people and just to thank the people who have already become subscribers to our channel. I think we're at 411 subscribers. We're trying to race our way to 500 and beyond. 500 is a really magic number for us, so we're trying to get to that nice round number. I know you're giving away. You said you're going to give away this Jets thing at 450, right? So we're only about 39 subscribers away from that. So if you're not a subscriber and you're watching right now, we have 350 plus people in the room here. Please, at least on our YouTube channel, jump right in and by all means subscribe right now and get yourself in this free drawing. It's free to subscribe, and you get in the drawing for Boy Green's items. I'll put something in between 450 and now
425,
425, which is only what?
Okay.
It's, what are we, 13, 14?
We're 14 people away right now.
All right, that'd be cool. All right, I have a bunch of cool things here.
Okay.
I think this is going to be the one today, though. This is a highly unusual thing. All right.
Okay. All right.
So, have you seen the movie Slapstick before?
Yes, of course.
Slapshot. I'm sorry, Slapshot.
I knew what you meant. Yes.
The crazy hockey movie with Paul Newman. All right, old time.
It's been a long time, but I did. I have
way
seen
back,
it
right? Okay. So a number of years ago, see, I'm a history guy, as you know, and I've been in this business for a long, long time. I had the pleasure of meeting the Hanson brothers, who are the crazy trio of guys in Slapshot. They all wear the crazy glasses, and they're really dirty players, all right? And they play on Paul Newman's team, all right? So I have this this photo signed by all three Hanson brothers, okay?
Wow.
And so here it is. I'll hold it up here. Look at this old-time photo, black and white.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that.
Look at this cool thing.
Wow,
signed by all three Hanson brothers. The insignia there, you see it there at the top. I'll try to move it in front of the camera.
Yeah, sure.
All right. But the insignia there is, it was written to our radio station, WSYR. So you kind of see that at the top. But each of the Hanson brothers has signed it. And it just says WSYR, old time hockey. Thanks. Good luck, the Hanson brothers. All right. And then it's got each of their individual signatures there at the bottom. All right. I will give this out at 425. All right. I will put it in a nice plastic thing and send it to you. And then my suggestion would be that you frame it. I don't have it in a frame here, but it's in really, really nice condition. And the autograph, as you can see, is really, really cool. All right. This is an all cool collectible. All right. I know we're primarily a football crowd on our podcast here, but hockey and this particular hockey movie has a lot of nostalgia. All right. So Hanson brothers. Going out the door at 425, an autographed photo. Pretty cool.
So again, let me just reiterate this to everyone that's watching the show right now. On the @MC Show digital channel that's right there in front of you, we're doing all these free giveaways. It's free. The only thing you have to do is subscribe to that channel link on your screen, and you'll be eligible. If you are in the next 14 subscribers, you'll be eligible for that autograph photo, which is terrific. If you're one of the next 39 subscribers, you'll be eligible for my 1972 Jets yearbook cover, and we'll have more, 475. We obviously 500 is a golf club, so we have a lot more coming up. They're free giveaways. As long as you subscribe, you're eligible for Lurches, mine, the golf club, and everything moving forward. So, folks, make sure you jump on that train. That's terrific. So cool.
Right. I'll come back to it a little later, but I have a pile of stuff, as I said, next to me. All right.
Yeah.
Of things that I found that I want to give away in the not too distant future. So I want to show you the stuff. We'll show it to people here on the podcast. And these are things that we'll give away upcoming. By the way, I found the nostalgic thing. We were talking about it on the show the other day. Remember I told you I was sitting in the front row of Knicks games taking pictures of Patrick Ewing? So here's one of the pictures. This was photographed by me. Okay.
Wow.
This is my camera. This is my shot. All right. This is Patrick Ewing, Rick Smits. You see him posting up on Rick Smits,
yes, I see. Yeah.
Indiana Pacers. I don't know if Reggie's in that picture. I can't tell if Reggie's in that picture.
Yeah, I can't see.
I see Detlef Schrempf there. That's number 11.
Yeah, right. I don't see Reggie. He might be in there somewhere. But
yeah, he's probably out on. He's probably out at the top of the key, waiting to get the. Oh no, he's probably defending out on the top against one of the guards. So that's Ewing posting up about 10 feet away from me.
Cool.
As I sat in the front row at one of the Knick games. I had a really nice connection back then. A guy that had season tickets front row. He's a big corporate guy in New York. Yeah. So Anthony Mason is in the picture, no longer with us. I see him often on the left here.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, back in the days, Ewing and Smits, Rick Smits, getting at it. So I mentioned that on the air the other day that that I had taken some photos there, and I was.
You're not
remember I was
giving one
trying
of
to get-
those away, are
I
you?
was trying to get that autographed by Patrick Ewing.
Oh, signed.
I
Yes.
want to get
yes,
that
right.
signed by Ewing, and I kept bringing it with me to Nick games to get it signed, and Patrick just kept running away from me. He was a tough signature back then.
Again,
He was-
he's going to be hard to run
good.
away from now. He's not that fast,
Yeah.
you know.
He'd be
I-
easy to
I-
track down now, probably, but I was trying to get him in.
Well, of
I was
course,
standing
at the
outside the
height of
garden
his
like any other
powers.
dopey
Yeah, I
fan.
know.
Patrick, slide my picture. And he'd find some cute kid instead, and then I'd be like, "Ah, man, I wish I were a
Yeah.
cute kid. I'm never going to get this thing signed. Thinks I'm
Yeah,
going to
right.
sell it on eBay or something. He doesn't realize I'm a diehard fan."
Hey, let me. I don't know if you've ever revealed this, Lurch.
Mhm.
Is the sole reason you had your son Zay is to increase your chances of getting that photo autographed?
No, I wish that would have been smart.
Okay. Yeah, that would have
Ewing
been
was no longer playing for the Knicks by the time my son was
Oh, I
was
see.
birthed, I think.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, 2000 was probably when he finished up.
My
so,
son and I. This is interesting because I'm going down to see him, as you know, for the holidays. He's down in
of
New York
course,
City.
sure.
My son and I. I'm going to have to ask him. He'll know the answer. I am not 100% of the answer to this question. I'm not sure that him and I have ever gone to a Knicks game together.
Really?
I don't think so. I
Wait,
just
what?
don't think
How
so.
is
I
that not
think
possible?
paths of our lives, where he was, I was, yeah. I haven't gone to the Garden in quite a while for a Knicks game. I mean, it's been a long time for me. I mean, I went from
Sure.
being a season ticket and being there every couple of nights during
Well, that's
basketball
also
season
true.
to
You're right.
not going in that building at all. I will be down in New York City the weekend of the 20th, which is coming up a week from. Where are we? I
Okay.
don't know. Yeah, this coming weekend. Yeah, gosh, today's the 15th already.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this coming weekend,
Yeah,
I will
right,
be
man.
down in New York City, and I'm sure that
Ooh.
I'll sweep on by Madison Square Garden. I always do. I did last year when I was down with my son around the holidays too. So I'll probably swing
nice.
by there. I don't think Patrick will be hanging around outside. It's not actually
Probably
hanging out at
not
Madison Square
in the
Garden. He's a better chance of
holidays.
seeing Jalen Brunson probably than Patrick.
That's
But
probably
yeah,
true.
no. So I don't think so. So I'd like to do that at some point. Knicks tickets are so expensive these days.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit more difficult. We were looking last year. Remember when they were in the playoffs?
Oh, yes, I remember we were talking
telling
about
you, oh
this.
my
Yeah.
God. I mean, geez. I mean, I wish I still had my connections down there to people that I knew. I'm sure I could have got a ticket at half the price that they were going on online. But yeah, I didn't want to throw down crazy money to go to one game. And, then if they lost, you'd be like, oh, man, what a waste of money that was.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can understand.
When you're only taking one swing at the pinata, man. Sometimes you want that to be a good swing if you're going to take
That's a
one.
good point. That's a good point.
Anyway, but yeah, so I got a pile of stuff, some cool stuff
Cool.
here. So I love to get your take on some of this stuff, and we'll decide if and when we're going to give it away. But I think there's some fun stuff. Some of it's Syracuse related, obviously.
Okay.
I don't know. I just pulled this whole big pile of stuff. Speaking of Christmas gifts, by the way,
Okay.
I had this in the if you go full screen to me again,
Yes,
for a
of
second.
course. Yeah.
So, darn, I wanted the wider. Oh yeah, there's a wider shot. I'm sorry, my mic is
Yeah.
there. So you see my Giants football right there in between.
I do.
Me
Yep.
and the
The other
microphone.
side. Yep.
Get my
Yep. Right.
finger in the right spot and point in the right
Yeah.
direction.
There
Okay.
you go.
So that's just a cool Giants commemorative football. It says 2011 Super Bowl champions. It's got all this information about the Giants record that year. All right, and Eli Manning's pictures on it. Right? Was he the MVP? I think he was the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a cool commemorative football. I love that. The other thing is this ball that if you were watching our videos last week, I had this ball. All right, this beautiful ball sitting in that case instead of the white ball. So I switched it out. So if you were paying attention to the details, you would have saw this ball. This ball is from Super Bowl. What is it? What would that be? 42. All right. XLII. I think that's 42.
42 was the Arizona one, David Tyree. Correct. Yeah.
Right. That's correct. That's the that's the knock off the Patriots one. Okay. Very, very cool. And that's what the commemorative ball is about as well. All right. I think, right? Commemorative ball 2011 is 42.
No, 42 was the one from 2008. So it would have been whatever the math is on that. Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Right. That's the Tyree catch. Okay. So anyway, so this is an actual ball. You can see the other side of it, right? It's the Wilson ball. I found the certificate of authenticity on this ball too.
Cool.
So it even has a certificate of authenticity. All right. It's got the two teams. It's got the date of the game right there. It says Giants versus versus the Patriots. All right. What does it say on there? Yeah. Arizona. It's in Arizona. All right. Who made the ball? Everything. But this is the ball that Paul got autographed for me. There's the Eli Manning autograph.
Look at that, beautiful.
All right,
Yeah.
beautiful. Number 10, Eli Manning, beautiful. And then on the other panel right next to it, there's David Tyree and the number 85, which is
beautiful signature
with the Giants. Okay, so we got those two beautiful autographs. So this one will never go. This is my baby,
okay, good,
so to speak.
Good.
So you had gotten me that a number of Christmases ago. You snuck into my house.
I did.
Somehow got
just
my
like
wife
Santa.
My wife, who had no clue exactly what this ball was or where it even was,
unfortunately,
somehow got you into the bowels of my basement where you found it in some box, which is where I had it at the time. Because it was an unautographed ball. It was just a ball that I wanted to get autographed, so I had it just stored. And you found it, and then you shipped it off and got the two guys to sign it, which was awful cool. So that ball's not going out the door. That's a
oh, thank goodness.
That'll stay in my family. That'll stay with me, and then eventually probably be passed on to my son or somebody else who would really value it in my family. That thing will stay forever. That's just to me a keepsake. Never to be sold, never to be given away.
Excellent.
Kind of thing.
I was hoping so.
Anyway, so thanks for that. And that was a really cool. A really cool thing. So I pulled that out.
I will tell you, by the way, that
yeah.
I'll tell you, by the way, she totally screwed it up because, like, at first I asked her to get the ball. I'm like, oh man, it's going to be pretty obvious. I know that he probably has some sports stuff in his house, but it's going to be pretty obvious what I'm talking about here because I described it to the T of everything that I knew about it. And then she gave me the ball when I asked her to do it, and it was the wrong ball. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah. This is not the ball. This is definitely not it. And it would sort of defeat the whole purpose. So I just said, in a weird way, can I just come into your house when he's not there? And can we? And it's a weird request. Yeah, can I just come to your house? Is that cool? Yeah, like when you're by yourself. So but eventually she was able to get me there, and then I said, here it is. It's this one, and then it was the whole thing. So thank God.
The place was tidied up when you snuck in here.
It was, yeah, which it was. So thank you for that. But I was like, oh boy, but I didn't want to make a big ruckus and show clearly, like if someone breaks into a house and there's things all over the place. Wait, who the hell was here? So I had to make sure that it was sort of sneaky, well taken care of. So massive
Indy Jets sneaking in the Let's Go Pacers thing.
Yeah, he's a Pacers guy.
Seeing the old Rick Smith's Detlef Schrempf on the court together. That's a Pacers moment right there.
He is. Nice. All right. Yeah, here's a nice overall moment. I see this. T-Town Jet, thank you for gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Very nice. Wait, that's over on my channel. Eventually, we'll be able to get these on the MC Show digital channel. That went to Genergy81. Shout out to Genergy and T-Town Jet. You got yourself a raffle ticket for my contest over on the Boy Green channel. So thank you, T-Town Jet. Thanks for spreading the love for the Boy Green Coffee Club. Beautiful. And you want to know what I don't like? So I like that. That's very nice. Thank you for the gift. What I don't like is sore losers. And Jamie the FedEx guy is trotting his unhappy...
Oh...
Boy Green old saying, better be lucky than good because your team stinks.
Talking about fantasy football there.
He is talking about fantasy football, and I beat him with a rake. Kyle Pitts almost outscored his entire team. So, if anyone's team stinks, it's yours, Jamie. I could get you a mirror for Christmas so you can look at it, although I don't want you to break the mirror. I said this, and I'll finally bring this to air. I never said it publicly because I didn't want to be rude. But when me and Lurch were talking about who could make the playoffs, it was up in the air in the final regular season. Oh, is it going to be this team or this team? I was hoping I faced you because I thought your team stunk. And I thought you could be the easiest path to the next round. And guess what? I was right because I always am. So thank you, Jamie, for bringing your sorry team and being one and done again. Speaking of one and done, I thought that was for Steve Wilks. I guess it was for your fantasy team on a seemingly year-to-year basis. So, Jamie, make sure you stay in your lane, buddy. I'm the champion. You're the loser. I've got no asterisks on any of my multiple championships. I'll always say multiple with a capital M, and I plan on stacking more on the pile. So, Jamie, to be a sore loser is a terrible thing, especially around this time of year. So I hope you can turn that frown upside down, buddy, and root for me as I win another championship.
Fair enough. And thanks for the William here coming back with Go Knicks, the NBA's best team, baby. Well, OKC might have something to say about that. Although OKC got upset by the Spurs in that Las Vegas, the Cup or whatever they call it now.
The whatever tournament. It is.
And it'll be Knicks Spurs. I think it's tomorrow night. It's the only game on. It's in Vegas again. It's at this wonderful arena in Las Vegas, and the Knicks and the Spurs will battle for the in-season cup. Hey, if we can't win the chip, Boy Green, at least we have the cup. Right?
I guess.
I guess. It's such a bad. Like I
get
love winning anything, but you just kind of like come on, like let's not over celebrate winning the cup.
Right. Again, I get what they're trying to do. They want this middle of the random regular season to matter. I get why the NBA is trying to do it. But again, these different colored courts that the Lakers said were a little slippery because it's a different material, which caused all kinds of drama. Then they had to fix it. And then there's this mythical cup. Like, are the Knicks going to hang a banner if they win this thing? I hope not, because that would be embarrassing. Hey, did you guys know in the 2025-2026 season we won the NBA Cup? Hey, Dad, what's that? Well, it's sort of a mid-season tournament of sorts.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. All right, look, today's broadcast brought to you by friends at Box Drop. All right, so let's just take a moment, learn a little bit more about our friends at Box Drop. When we return, we got to hit it here. We got to hit the ground running here in the NFL. Here's what we're going to talk about. Old Man Rivers, he may not have won, but did he win, Boy Green? We're going to talk about that when we return. Patrick Mahomes done for the season, and could he be done for part of next season with this very serious injury? Micah Parsons. Oh, it did not look good for Micah. And Devontae Adams talking about maybe playing this Thursday night, even after it looked like he appeared to re-pull or re-aggravate his hamstring. We'll get into all of that. Superstars in the NFL falling by the wayside here in week number 15. That's all coming your way. But first, a quick word from our friends at Box Drop. Considering that we sleep nearly 1/3 of our lives, buying the right mattress is essential. At Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofa Outlet, you'll get a unique experience, one that saves you 30 to 70% off retail prices on top-of-the-line mattresses like Sapphire Sleep. At Box Drop, you'll schedule a mattress fitting appointment and get one-on-one service directly with Paul, the owner. No middleman. Family-owned, huge savings, no-pressure sales designed to save you time and money. And now Box Drop Syracuse has sectional sofas and love seats as well, with prices designed to fit your budget. Box Drop Syracuse Mattress and Sofas. Set up your appointment today at boxdropsyracuse.com. All right, we're back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital, marching our way towards 425 subscribers. As soon as we get there, this Hanson Brothers autograph picture is going out the door, my friends. All right, and at 450, Boy Green has that wonderful Jets program from many years ago. Give it a flash there, Boy Green. Fantastic old school program. Joe Namath on the cover. Love that. All right. So 425 and 450 guaranteed landmarks. Well, we will pluck another name from the proverbial pot here. All you have to do is be a subscriber. It's absolutely free. So just again, throw it up there one more time, Boy Green. Just go to this link directly. All right. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just hit that subscribe button and you are in. You are essentially in the lotto to win one of those prizes. And there are many prizes along the way as well. I still have that golf club sitting right here in my corner at 500 subscribers, a big landmark. I'm going to give away a $400 driver courtesy of our friends at Play It Again Sports. It's a Cleveland high bore XL, never been hit, still wrapped in the plastic. Fabulous, fabulous golf club. What a great thing to have for next spring here. If you live on the East Coast or if you're a Southerner or a West Coaster, guess what? You could be playing that golf club as soon as you receive it on the golf course. So fantastic stuff. All right. So a lot of cool giveaways. And again, all you have to do is become a subscriber. So race to that subscribe button. Make sure you do it right there. That particular link at MC Show Digital. As Boy Green was saying, I know a lot of you come in through X or Twitter, that you come in through Boy Green's YouTube channel as well, but you need to subscribe to this YouTube channel at MC Show Digital is the handle, and then that will get you into the lottery. By the way, Joey Matisik, who won the Bobby Mercer autograph baseball that we gave away for 400 subscribers, Boy Green, I put that in the mail last night. Special nice. To the post office in the snow and dropped it in the old Dropbox, and according to the label and everything that I put on it, he'll have it before Christmas. So
okay, there you go.
Nice little pre-Christmas gift. So thanks to Joey for being a subscriber and for participating on our channel. That's what you do. You just show up, and sometimes you just get yourself a prize. So become part of our growing community. We'd love for you to do that. All right, let's talk about all these things that happened in the NFL. We got through that Steve Wilks firing with the Jets this morning, that breaking news in case you missed it. Now let's talk about what happened over the weekend. I got to tell you what, I know the Colts lost that game. I put it more in the defense, in all honesty. They couldn't stop the other team going down the field on the final drive, not to allow another field goal by Myers. Seattle wins a game without scoring a touchdown. 6 field goals by Jason Myers, wins it. They put up 18 points, and they win 18-16. Phillip Rivers, look, he didn't heave it down the field. I mean, he wasn't Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen chucking it all over the yard, but he dinked and dunked and took some hits and got the ball out of there and made that offense somewhat efficient. The Colts had a chance to win that game. I got to tell you, the critics were out This guy's no business. 5 years on the couch. Come on, he's creaking. They're going to have to stick oil in his joints just to make him so he doesn't shatter like glass. Well, he didn't not only shatter like glass, he actually looked pretty good. And I know he's, chucking it way down the field. I think you got to, stretch the old arm out and get yourself. The guy hasn't even had spring training. He was on the couch 5 days ago. But for crying out loud, I think Philip Rivers did a tremendous job. So kudos to the family man, Philip Rivers, a.k.a. high school coach. You saw the Zoom shots of the entire football team watching and cheering him on, his high schoolers. Wow, that was a really impressive performance considering his age, considering the circumstances. I think Philip Rivers was actually terrific yesterday. What were your thoughts, Boy Green?
Yeah, first off, if you wouldn't have taken the lone wolf, I would have taken it. It was down to me and you on taking Indianapolis to cover. They nearly won outright, and you said, "Hey, if you're not going to get this by yourself," and I'm like, fine, I'll go on the other side. So I would have taken the lone wolf. I would have appreciated.
So the only one that had the courage to take Philip Rivers. And by the way, the spread on that game, okay?
I
mean, I didn't just win that game.
Sure.
The final score was 18-16. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Indianapolis was 13.5-point underdogs.
They were.
So I won emphatically. That was like the way you beat Jamie in
fantasy. That's right.
Okay. So I'm just saying. All right. Terrific. Okay. That's the way that went down. All right. Manchild, the only one taking old man Rivers. The only one that had the guts, the temerity. What was it? Lombardo was laughing at me. He was laughing at me when I made that pick. I laughed back at you. All right. Anyway. So we're taking Rivers in his performance.
Yeah, it's sort of everything that you said. I mean, again, there's a lot of people poking fun of it at his weight throughout because like in the pregame warmups, you saw sort of the beer belly there for Philip Rivers. And
a little bit of a dad bod,
which is fine. Hey, I got a dad bod too, so I feel you, man. But at 44, the week before, he was literally on the couch. We sometimes use that as like a saying, like, oh, wow, got off the couch to go do this. Like, literally, he was on the couch last week. And then a week later, is in Seattle in a do or die game with all kinds of implications on the line. I thought he was fine. And that says a lot about him. He had like 140 passing yards or something in the game, and they ran it a lot with Jonathan Taylor, which is what I would have done if I was running the offense for Indianapolis. And for Jet fans, getting that loss for the Colts is good for our draft position because we have the Colts first round pick this year. I thank you, Indy. I appreciate that. But no, I thought Philip Rivers acquitted himself well, all things considered. There's a few moments where Leonard Williams is coming bustling at him, and we both know Leonard Williams. He played for both of our teams, 6'5" mammoth of a man running at him. He's like, oh boy, I'm not used to this sort of pocket movement when he's coming crashing down on me. But yeah, I think he's only going to get better from here, which is good news for the Colts, and get his feet under him. But man, in that environment against that Seattle team, and the reason why I picked Seattle, despite that massive spread, is Seattle has blown out more teams than any team in football this year. They have beaten teams they're supposed to beat, and they have crushed them by a lot. So I thought, oh boy, Philip Rivers at 44 years age in Seattle, that's a nightmare.
It's gonna be tough.
So massive credit to Philip Rivers. Huge. And good for him, and giving that nice story around the holidays about, hey, you never know what you can put your mind to. So good for Philip.
Yeah, I agree. I think really good. Now, with my Giants losing, Boy Green, all right, we remain as the number 1 pick in the draft as we speak. I said, I don't think they're going to lose them all out here. They're probably going to win this Commanders game, and then we can stop the talk of that, and then I guess we can just root for them to win and see how it all shakes out. They'll probably go 2-2. All right, BG, my priorities have shifted now.
Oh.
We have lost to the Commanders. Okay.
You did, which I picked. Thank you, Commanders.
Did not look good in that game either. Did not look good despite Jackson Dart. Here's my take. We've got Minnesota coming up. Yeah. Minnesota actually looked pretty good against Dallas last night. JJ McCarthy looked like he's finding himself a little bit. So that's an eminently losable game. We finished the season in week 18 against the Cowboys. I mean, that's eminently losable game, even though
I noticed you skipped over a certain game.
Yes, of course. I'm going to get to that one last. They have to travel to Las Vegas, who are awful. Let's face it. The Raiders really stink.
They lost 31-0.
In all honesty, I'm kind of becoming a fan of all right, how do we lose these 3?
You're back to Team Tank.
I think I'm back to Team Tank here. I mean, what's the point now? I mean, okay, we can't even beat the Commanders in our own building.
Yeah, clearly.
Why are we going to go out to Vegas and beat the Raiders and give them a better pick than us, which is what would happen, right?
Right. That could be for the number 1 overall.
So that moves them in front of us, potentially for the number 1 pick or beyond. And I mean, it just doesn't serve any purpose to me, as much as I hate losing to the Cowboys under any circumstance, to beat the Cowboys or to beat the Vikings. So I think I'm Team Tank now, man. I mean, what's the point? And here's let me be clear about this for a moment, about why I'm shifting and changing here.
Sure.
Because it's becoming more and more clear to me that having that number one is going to result in better assets inevitably being, brought upon us.
Sure. Yeah.
And if that's the case, why wouldn't you play for better assets at this point? There is no real reason. This coach is not going to be our coach. Okay. So we're not like winning for him anymore. Okay. I mean, where is the thing? Are we just going to go back to like pride? It's just pride, man.
Yeah, sure.
An NFL player. I play for pride. Okay. I'm not saying go out there and like not play hard. Players are designed to do that. They're not going to do it. You get hurt doing that in football.
Sure.
But what the Giants should do is shut down Jackson Dart. Shut down anyone else that's even nicked up, banged up in any way, give Andrew Thomas some plays off here and there, looks like he's got that big elbow brace on anyway. That's probably hurting him, maybe he needs a game or two, just relax that thing,
right.
Let's just kind of let it flow here a little bit. Let's let some of the youngsters get in there and prove themselves. Let's find out what that backup to the backup has. I mean, who's behind Winston? Let's find out what that guy has, let's just go a different direction here.
I see.
Because to me, it doesn't seem to be any rational reason to win football games other than, we're a prideful organization and we want to show our pride. There's no pride to be had here. Are you trying to get better? Everybody wants that.
Sure.
Can you do anything? Will a win this year do anything for you at all to make your team better?
Probably not.
This year. No. So let's just play for pride. Give me your reaction to that. I just got to step away just for half a second here.
Yeah, no. The fact of the matter is this is the Tankathon draft order, top 10 as it currently stands. There are 3 teams with 2 wins. That is the New York Giants 2-12, the Raiders at 2-12, the Titans at 2-12. The Giants and Raiders have to play. So one of these 2 teams are going to be dropping in the draft order. That's going to happen. And there's other machinations here of things that are going to occur with these teams playing each other. Jets play the Saints this week. So 5-7. Jets are at the 5th overall pick. They play the Saints right now. So, no, Lurch, I've seen, for those who are not introduced to the Manchild and everything that he brings to the table, a couple of years ago, you were Team Tank.
I was.
A few weeks ago, you said, I'm not getting back in those waters. And yet, here you are.
After inevitably. This one sent me to the deep abyss here because this almost seemed like it was not a losable game. I mean, they don't have Daniels. They're playing terrible. They have nothing to play for either. We're at home. Dart's been, now that he's back from injury, he's been looking pretty solid.
Sure.
The offensive line is showing some promise here these days. I mean, heck, even Tyrone Tracy went out and had a day yesterday. And they still couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
So to now lose to the Commanders, you got 3 left. It's 3 meaningless games. You play them. You play them like they're 3 preseason games where you don't care about winning. You just care about developing.
Okay.
That's what you do. That's what I do if I'm the Giants head coach right now. That's what I do if I'm Giants ownership right now. That's the instruction. The instruction is we have 3 games left, fellas, and they're all preseason games. We're not playing to win. We're playing to develop. Run your guys out there. When you guys get tired, let's bring in the younger guys and give them that's it. You just play it like preseason. We protect all the players in the preseason. Why wouldn't you protect your players in this instance? And in the end, not only are you protecting your players going forward, but you're protecting your organization because theoretically, if you do find a way to lose these 3 games, and again, I am not insisting that they lose on purpose, miss a field goal on purpose. Guy's open. Let me throw it over his head. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you stack the deck in the favor of the opponent by putting out less than your best guys on every play.
And let things happen as they may.
And if they win a game, then fine. Then I can't blame them. But if you're playing Jackson Dart and you're playing, your starting offensive line and you're running out all your starters and guys are nicked up and you're juicing them up and get out there, man, get out there. No. Let's stop that. All right. And let's treat it like the preseason. Let's put our team in bubble wrap okay? And let's let the youngsters go out there and battle that need to battle, the ones we need to see more from. And we know what we got. We know what Dart is. We know what this guy is. We know what that guy is. Okay, we'll see you in camp. We'll see you in camp. Okay.
Okay, so you're
Overreact.
asking like what my opinion is of this, and it's
Mhm.
I have a question to your
And
question.
take it and please, when you answer that,
Yeah.
don't answer it around the bubble of that your Jets are sitting at 3-11.
Well,
And if we find a way to win another game, you could, leapfrog.
That-
Just
that-
get
that's
out
how-
of your Jets. I'm asking you to get out of your Jets head for a minute and just look at it from a Giant perspective. All right, go ahead.
Well, I actually need to be in my Jets head, but not for that reason you just mentioned, because I have a question. The question it's this, right? So your Giants, let's say the draft is right now. The
Mhm.
Giants have the number 1 overall pick. Where the Jets were sitting there at 5.
Mhm.
The Colts pick that we have is sitting at 18, and over the next 2 years, we have 5 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks total. First off, it's a multi-part question. Number 1, are you interested in trading with us
Of
being the
course.
Jets?
That's the
Okay,
whole point.
of course, great. All right. Number 2, what would you ask to drop from 1 to 5? What would your request of us be? That's what I want to know. What are you asking for?
2 number ones and maybe another asset.
Okay, and then other asset. Give me a
I don't know.
general
Maybe a later
ballpark.
pick. I mean, maybe
Oh, okay.
I don't know if there's a player. I don't know. Another asset. Something usable. It could
Okay.
be another pick. A
Okay.
third rounder or something. In,
Okay.
in a year or two, wherever you've got
Okay.
to double up. You got to double up. Okay, hey, can you give us that pick? In that round, that thing.
Okay. So with that being said, I have only got one response to you, and it's
Mhm.
this. You got a done deal, buddy.
Wouldn't it be
Heisman
nice
goes
if we
out.
could? Wouldn't it be nice if we could help each other for a change? Like, we're always bitter enemies. We never want to make meaningful trades against each other.
Right.
If this were to work out, if the Giants could put their team in bubble wrap and find a way to lose out, including
Okay.
a game in Vegas, that is the one that's like, oh man, we're going to find a way to win that game, a dopey team that we are. But if we could, and we ended up there, and you
Yeah.
stayed relatively in the same area that you're in,
Right, which we are.
why couldn't we help you out? I'd love to help the Jets out.
Okay.
Let's
Let
do
me
this.
ask you this, because this
Mhm.
was a rumor on social. I don't even know if it's a rumor. It's probably someone's opinion about it. But let me ask you this about this Jets Giants thing, about us just coming together. Works out for you. You guys, you have your quarterback, you get 2 first-round picks and extra assets. We get our
Mhm.
quarterback, works out for everybody. There was a Giant personality on social media that said, absolutely not. John Mara would rather roll over in his grave than to give the
That's just
Jets
dumb.
a
That's dumb.
franchise quarterback on a silver platter. We're in the same town, and he doesn't want to do that. What's your response to
I think
that
it's dumb.
thought?
That's
Okay.
dumb. First of all, is there anyone? I mean, you tell me. I mean, again, I'm not in draft mode yet.
Sure, yeah.
Is there anyone right now in that vicinity of towards the top? You can throw the list back up if you
Oh,
want.
sure.
I can
Yeah,
probably figure it out if I looked at it.
okay.
That needs a quarterback as desperately as the Jets do. Okay,
Vegas, I guess. Like
Vegas,
so, yeah.
probably right. Is it?
So
Yeah,
Tennessee,
I guess
so
it's pretty
Tennessee,
desperate in Vegas. Tennessee,
right.
no.
Tennessee's out. Cleveland, you
Come
don't know
on,
what
no.
Shador.
Come
They
on,
like him.
Cleveland. I
They
mean, how many
don't. I
guys
don't
are going to
know.
have at one time?
Right.
Cleveland's got to sit back.
Okay,
and figure
so
out something.
Arizona could be desperate with the Kyler Murray situation. I don't know. New Orleans seems out. Tyler Shuck has played very well. Washington's obviously out. They got Jane Daniels. Bengals are out. They have Joe Burrow. And then the Rams have Matthew Stafford, but they're so far back. Would a Giants or any team at the top would want to trade all the way to 10?
Yeah,
I don't imagine
probably
so.
not.
So
Probably
really
not.
it's Jets, Raiders with an outside
Okay.
shot of the Browns, I guess.
All
But
right.
it's Jets, Raiders, really.
Jets, Raiders. So you got, I mean, you always would like competition. You'd love for both of them
Sure.
to be coming at you with offers, and then you take the
course.
best offer. But if it were, let's just say it was just the Jets and Raiders that really
Okay.
had high
Sure.
level interest, were willing
Yeah.
to give up multiple ones to
Okay.
get the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Why? That it gets beside me here about the Giants and the Jets and this mysterious competition that
Right.
people want to will into existence that doesn't really exist. I mean, sure, we have the New York thing, but
That's true.
I lived in New York most of my life, and now, I've been in New York State my entire life, okay? And I lived
Okay.
in New York City half of my life, all right? And the fact of the matter is that I never felt like that brutal thing, of the Jets hate the Giants and the Giants hate the Jets. The heck, they share the same stadium, for crying out loud.
They do.
We're sitting in the same stinking seats. Give me
We
a
are.
break. This is a blown out of proportion rivalry that doesn't really exist. And why the heck would New York not want to help out New York before you'd help out Las Vegas? I mean, we're going to help out. What kind of New Yorker are you? I'm going to get into my New York.
Oh, okay,
accent.
sure.
What kind of New Yorker are you? If you want to help somebody in Las Vegas, bleeping Las Vegas instead of helping another New Yorker. We're just helping another New Yorker. We're helping another New York team. It's the Jets. Okay, that's what we're doing here.
Okay,
just that
I like
simple.
it. By the way, here are the numbers. This is from The Athletic. Okay, this is the race to the number 1 pick. This is their model. The Raiders have the best chance of the number 1 overall pick, 41%.
They think the Giants are going to beat them, of course.
That's exactly what they think. The Titans and Giants both have an 18% chance. They're tied at 18%. But again, some of these teams play each other, so their odds are what they are now. But inevitably, some of them are going to knock each other off. Jets at 11%, Browns at 10%, and then Cardinals have an outside shot all the way at the bottom at 2%. That is the race for the number 1 pick. It is between 6 teams, but really 5 teams. That's it.
We just got to lose to the Raiders. That's really what it comes down to.
Could they lose to? I think I'm going to be honest. I think your Giants could beat the Vikings because, like, it depends which Vikings team shows up. Sometimes they blow teams out. Sometimes they look terrible. So I don't know.
They could even beat the Cowboys in that.
They could definitely. But the Cowboys are going to be eliminated by then.
The Cowboys will be out of it. What will they be doing with their roster at that point?
Sure.
You know. So yeah, the problem is all 3 of them are winnable games. But I thought this one yesterday. Well, toss a coin between this one yesterday and the one in Vegas were the 2 really winnable ones.
Okay.
And one of them's off the board now. So now I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. One's off the board. 2 out of 3 look like they could go the other way. All we got to do is lose 1 now. Just have to lose 1.
Yeah.
So they got to think about it I think they got to think about putting their team in bubble wrap.
Okay.
And again, you're not purposefully tanking because that's illegal and you wouldn't and immoral and you wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah,
but I do think that you could treat these last 3 games like they're preseason games and let the chips fall where they may. I do believe that.
Give it to me straight here, right? Because one of the other storylines I imagine we're about to get into is Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately, a torn ACL, and Micah Parsons, it looks like a torn ACL as well. But I want to have the draft nugget first before we get to the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. It's this, okay? Here, the Chiefs could have play a massive factor into who gets the number 1 pick. The Chiefs play the Titans this week. The Chiefs play the Raiders in the final 3 games. What are the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes? Gardner Minshew? And by the way, that's a revenge game for the Raiders. Former Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew. You give it to me straight, though, Lurch, and make sure it's not just my Jets glasses, because I want the Chiefs to lose to some of these teams and then change things up in the top 5.
Yep.
Do you think with Andy Reid and Gardner Minshew, the Chiefs are more likely to still figure it out and be a somewhat competent team, or is the floor bottoming out? Patrick Mahomes is gone. It doesn't matter. They can lose to anybody now.
Floor's bottoming out.
Okay, great. All right. That's great to hear. Phenomenal.
Yes. That's did you see Chris Jones at the podium after the game?
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah.
He literally, a question came up and he literally, and I'm going to assume it was genuine,
Oh, for sure it was.
He didn't seem to know whether they were actually fully eliminated. And in the question, it was inferred that they were eliminated. He turned to the reporter. He said, "So we've been eliminated?" And the reporter told him yes. It's like, oh.
But here's the other part of it for people that missed the front half of the answer. He says, "We still got a chance." And then we don't get camera on the media, right? We don't get camera on the media members, but I imagine their look then inspired that second half of the answer to Chris Jones, because he went, we still got a chance, and the media members were like, "No, you don't." And they went, "Oh, were we?"
We have been eliminated. I didn't realize with everyone else winning and us losing that we're out now. Officially.
So it's a little awkward, but still genuine. The Chiefs are out.
But genuine, and the genuineness is that Chris Jones essentially is shocked. He's beside himself. He can't believe it. How did this happen? And then the double indemnity blow here of, by the way, our quarterback's not only done for this season, but who knows how much of next season. This is a very serious injury.
Yeah.
He could miss a lot of time. This is bad for the Chiefs. Wow.
Yeah, and think about it. Just imagine how much this shakes things up, people. Here are some of the stats I'm going to tell you. They've been to 7 straight AFC championship games. 7 straight. 7 times in a row, they've knocked on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. Now, they haven't gone to 7 straight Super Bowls, obviously, but they've been to, I think it's 5 of 7, and they've won 3 or 4 or whatever. All the math, it's hard to even remember because of how many Super Bowls. I wish I had that problem one day where I'm running out of fingers to count all the Super Bowls. But 7 straight AFC championship games, which means that everything shakes up, Lurch. The AFC's wide open. There's no Joe Burrow. They got eliminated from the playoffs over the weekend. Joe Burrow out. Patrick Mahomes out. The Ravens, we'll see what happens. They're on the outside looking in right now. So if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, I don't love to say this with my chest, but if you're the Buffalo Bills who get the upset whenever the New England Patriots, New England was kicking their ass and they let them back, whatever. But Buffalo gets back into this thing. There's no Joe Burrow. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There might not be a Lamar Jackson. Bills, if you don't win the Super Bowl this year, when the hell else are you going to win the Super Bowl? Or at least get to the Super Bowl yourself and see what's going to happen. So, unbelievable. And man, the AFC East is completely wide open. So we're going to see some fresh meat, long story short, in the very least, the conference championship game and in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, the dynasty is dead. Unbelievable.
That was a great win for Buffalo, by the way, too, since you
Yeah.
brought that up. I mean, great comeback. I mean, you watched the first half of that game. I was like, oh, boy, New England is just taking it to them, man. Holy crow.
Yeah.
Defensively, Drake May looking sharp. Their running game was getting off. I was like, wow, this is bad, man. Holy crow, the Bills are going to get whacked. And then, as usual, Josh Allen, he just starts finding his mojo. He is incredible. It's amazing to me. Every once in a while, they pop stuff up on the screen, some of these quarterback records. And I can't even remember the stat it was that they popped up yesterday during the game. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. But I was like, wow, holy crow, he's with the greats here. It was like a stat where it was like him, Brady, Montana, and him. It's like, what? And he's going to pass him easy. He's going to pass
company,
them with ease. I'm just like, wow, he's still so young. He's in his prime right now.
Yeah.
And he is passing the greats, guys that took it all the way out till their hairs were gray. And he's approaching and passing those guys. It's remarkable. He now has the most, right? We know he just a couple of weeks ago broke the record for the most touchdowns.
Yeah, beat Cam Newton out.
By a touchdown, running touchdown, running for a touchdown.
As a quarterback, right?
Yeah, as a QB. But it's just, he is really getting into elite company in the record books. Like, that's how incredible. For those of you that don't, appreciate Josh Allen right now, because whether you're a fan of the Bills or not, appreciate what he's doing. He's doing some really amazing stuff. So you don't want to be like, oh, I didn't pay any attention because I hate the Bills. Pay it. It always pays. Take it from somebody who's lived through some generations of great quarterbacks.
Right.
Okay. When Montana played, I hated him. Hated him. He was the nemesis. All right. I should have appreciated him more.
Yeah.
I watched Michael Jordan play basketball. I can't even tell you how many playoff games I watched Michael Jordan play in the game of basketball in person when I had Knicks season tickets and was going to the playoffs every year. I hated him. I wish I had appreciated him more. I wish I had relished those moments. And I still have those memories to go back to, but those memories are ones of like, yeah, that guy sucks. Instead of, wow, it's unbelievable what he's doing out there. He is amazing. So same thing for Josh Allen. He's doing some really, really amazing things in the game of football. Appreciate him. He's way hidden over here in Buffalo, New York, but you should appreciate him. He's remarkable. He's doing remarkable things. He's doing things that other quarterbacks, even the greats, he's going to pass some of them. And you're going to say he's the only one that has done X, Y, and Z. Incredible.
Well, if Josh Allen wants to be appreciated here, let me do this for him. Okay. There's the line. Okay, Josh, you wonder what this line is? Okay, everybody who's won a Super Bowl, move over to this side. All right, every quarterback that hasn't won a Super Bowl, move over to this side. That's the line. How we interpret Drew Brees, who's a Super Bowl champion, versus a Dan Marino, versus a whoever, go Phillip Rivers, who just came back from retirement, a really talented quarterback that never won a Super Bowl. Go through all the list of the best quarterbacks that never won a Super Bowl. They're all on this line over here. If you win at least one, you join a certain club. If you win multiple, you join a certain club. Eli's in that club. Peyton's in that club. Montana's in that club. Bradshaw's in the club. Brady's in that club. Go through all the greats that are multi-time Super Bowl winners. Ben Roethlisberger. There's a full group over here of 2+. There's a 1+ club, and there's a net 0 club. And Josh Allen, again, if I'm a Bills fan, the moment to strike is right now. This isn't even the best version of a Bills team we've seen over the years, which is interesting.
He's going to have to do it more himself than a lot of other times. Yeah.
Yes. And will they be capable? I have massive concerns about that defense. Travion Henderson went wild yesterday. Think about some of those matchups. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Like right now, I believe if the playoffs start today, it'd be the 3-6, and I believe they play Jacksonville. And if I'm the Bills, Travis Etienne, the way he looked yesterday, and that's the run game on top of everything else, I don't know if I'm rushing to that matchup. So they better get this run defense issue cleaned up. I don't know what they could possibly do this late in the season, but they got to get their P's and Q's managed defensively.
Some good comments coming in here. I want to get some of them up on the screen here. Let me jump to this one. Brady to me was your Montana lurch, and I will never appreciate him. Maybe this is the way to better put it. Bad show. Thank you for that. Here's maybe the way I would, let me reframe what I said.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Because I never could have appreciated Jordan while he was beating the Knicks because I was such a diehard Knicks fan.
Correct.
And I was paying, half of my salary to go to these games. Right.
Right.
But at least I was there. And now I have the memory to go back on later and say, like, yeah, I saw that stuff. Yeah, it really was amazing. So at least I can reminisce and appreciate what I saw, even though while I was seeing it, I was screaming at the top of my lungs that I hated his guts. So, okay, bad. Sure, you're right. You never, I'm sure you never went to a game and went like, Tom Brady's great, or wow, that was an amazing.
But let's switch to the quarterback.
Like, get him, kill him, rip his throat out. Okay, I get it. But now that it's done, okay, at least you can say you saw him and you saw some of the feats that he did, and you can appreciate them later. Okay.
I think
the old man on the rocking chair kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the key is just switching out the quarterback. So obviously, Badshaw's a Jets fan. I'm a Jets fan. We have a particular hate for Tom Brady. He played in our division. But remove Brady. Let's put a different name in there that I think answers Lurch's call here from Montana. It's Mahomes. So Mahomes has won all these Super Bowls. He's in the AFC, just like Montana was in the NFC for your Giants, right? Right. It's not a direct division rival, but it's someone that's preventing you, the Jets, from getting the actually a lot of things preventing the Jets from getting the Super Bowl, but specifically someone else representing the AFC on a year-to-year basis. I think that's a better. Take Brady out of it. We have too much vitriol and too much hate for Brady. He's in our division. But switch that answer to Mahomes. Mahomes is the Montana of the Lurch era that we're talking about here. And I think that's easier to like. It's
more palatable.
Yeah, it's more palatable. And in terms of respect, like I respect Mahomes. I'm like, wow, what he's doing is incredible. At a certain point, you get that championship fatigue, and it's a little annoying that 7 straight AFC championship games. Every year I'm turning on the playoffs, I'm seeing Mahomes. So there is some of that there, but no, there's a massive level of respect.
All right, here's one that I'm going to utterly and completely disagree with. Okay, without a Super Bowl, you are not a Hall of Fame guy. J-Boy, I'm sorry, but you are dead bleeping wrong on that. Okay. I could go to almost any sport in any time, and I can name you players who are absolutely Hall of Fame players. It's not on the individual player. It's circumstance. You get drafted, you get a contract, you get stuck. Players don't just get to choose. Other people choose their destiny for them. And then their job is to go out on the field of play and give their best effort. Dan Marino is absolutely a Hall of Fame guy. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. I put him in my top 5 all-time quarterbacks. Okay, Boy Green and I had an argument on the radio about this a couple of years ago, all right? And I was going bananas, okay? And I think that if you had lived through a Marino like I did, watched Marino play like I did, saw what he could do on the football field like I did, okay, saw him get to his 1 Super Bowl and not be successful, it was his team around him. Just let him down. The coaches let him down. They didn't get the talent around him. And yet he still made them relevant year after year after year. He just couldn't win a big one. It happens. Only one team a year wins the big one. One team.
Yeah.
One. And when you come along one of these eras where you have a dynasty like recently has been the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to blame that on Josh Allen? You're going to put that on Josh Allen. You're going to say, Josh Allen, you're not a Hall of Fame. You could have 30 records in the NFL and have beaten the greats of the greats and record-wise. And Marino, by the way, was doing that when he played. He was passing everyone like there was no tomorrow. He was doing things ungodly statistically. And this is a man that couldn't even move. I mean, his knees were so bad, he just was standing in the same spot. But he could, with the flick of a wrist, throw the ball 40, 50 yards down the field on a dime right to a receiver who was running. Not even good receivers that he had on those Miami Dolphin teams. That guy is an absolute Hall of Famer. Ernie Banks is an absolute Hall of Famer in baseball, and I can name you 24 others in all different sports. You can't measure a guy as Hall of Fame based on championships. It helps. I'm right now. Okay, here's the other side of the argument. All right, and now I'm going to go full Giants fandom on. Okay, Eli Manning. Statistically, Eli Manning does not hold up to be a Hall of Famer in the football world because
I disagree.
Things. A lot of people have made that argument. Okay, I'm not going to make it, but a lot of people have made that argument that statistically, I don't know, I can't remember all his numbers. His completion percentage is not up to standards. His, where he is on the all-time passing. I don't know. Just there's various things that you could, nitpick here. No. All right, this guy's not in, and he's even lower than that. This guy's not in, he's even lower than that. All right. But he wins the 2 Super Bowls, and he wins the 2 Super Bowl MVPs, right? Did he win the MVP in both the Super Bowls? I can't remember if he won.
He did, I believe, MVPs. Yes.
I think he did. All right. He's a Hall of Famer, okay? And he's being debated right now. He didn't make it on the first pass, okay? Might not even make it on the second pass.
He did win both MVPs.
Right now.
Yes.
So Like Eli's an argument for the other side of that, and yet I'm on your side on that one, J-Boy, if indeed, winning championships is part of being in a Hall of Fame. But I think if Eli doesn't win those 2 championships, then the argument is much more difficult, okay? It's a much more difficult argument. Marino's the exact opposite. He hit it out of the park so unbelievably, and he just doesn't have that other piece. So just to use him as the argument, there are lots of other guys I could bring to the table, but I just don't agree with that statement at all about Hall of Famers, because it's not the player that gets themselves in the situation that they get in. Other people get to choose and pick your destiny. How would you like it in a world where you wanted to do a job and you wanted to work for said company, but instead the world said to you, well, you can't do that. You can't apply over there because actually there's a whole system here that says that depending on an order that we predetermined from last season, you get picked by someone. And when they pick you, you have to go there or you don't have a job. What do? You take the job. You go play for the team that picked you. You don't have a choice. There aren't a lot of choices in this pro sports world for the athletes. That's why so many people these days are so much on the player's side for finally having more power, because for years and years and years, they had no power. It was the GMs and the front offices and the owners that had all the power. I know I'm going off, Boy Green. Go ahead.
No. So a couple of things here. First off, I want to just bring J-Boy's comment back up. I am in agreement with Lurch. That never happened. So mark this on your calendar.
Wow. Can't believe it.
Without a symbol, you're not a Hall of Fame guy. I totally disagree. I don't think that's true at all. Dan Marino is definitely deserving of being a Hall of Famer. But here's where I think the extra layer is, and I also want to get into something you said about Eli Manning. But the next layer of this is, I think there's a difference between a Hall of Famer, which is a great honor. It's the greatest honor of all time. I went to Canton. I wish I could die and be buried outside of the Hall of Fame. It's a beautiful place. I love Canton, Ohio. It's great that I got the chance to be there. But I think there's a difference between a Hall of Famer and then Mount Rushmore. I think Dan Marino, not having won a Super Bowl, keeps him off my Mount Rushmore. Okay. It's a prerequisite. You at least have to win one championship. If not, sorry, pal, you're on the Hall of not in my Mount Rushmore. You could be a Hall of Famer. You've done more than enough to be a Hall of Famer. 100%. The game of football cannot be told without mentioning Dan Marino's name.
Yes.
However, Mount Rushmore, top 4 of all time, and he didn't win a Super Bowl. Sorry, pal. That you could be the honorary 5th. Yeah. They were like, well, if he would have won a Super Bowl, he might have been in there. But that's where I settled there.
And I think what you're saying, Paul, is when I'm comparing a whole bunch of really great guys.
Sure.
When I got to now decide
tiebreaker, right,
between great, greater, greatest, greatest of infinity, I now have to use tiebreakers. And for you, and it's a very logical place to go, your tiebreakers is going to be, well, how did they do in the biggest moments? How did they do in the big games? How many rings do they have on their fingers? I get that. I totally agree with that. I would just for me, I agree with that. And I think there are definitively people, even on my Mount Rushmore, that are ring guys. But I think I also always employ that which I've employed since I've been on the air, that I've been watching sports, that I've ever talked about sports in my life. And that is the eye test, the look test, what I saw with my own eyes. Okay. You could argue all day, LeBron or Jordan or LeBron. I'm going to tell you what my eyes told me. Michael Jordan was a freak. He was otherworldly. He floated like no man I've ever seen before. He willed himself to victory. LeBron James is an unbelievable player. He has broken all of the key records in basketball. He has longevitied himself past everyone else and is still playing at a high level at a ridiculous age. He's a freak.
Yeah.
But I don't see the same thing in LeBron that I saw in Jordan. There was just a difference. He just stood out. And for me in football, having gone through the Marino era, Marino just stood out for me. I was just like, get that guy. Would someone please sack him? And they couldn't get to him. And he had all those things going against him. He wasn't Lamar Jackson, could just slip away from people. He wasn't, Josh Allen. He could just throw guys off him because he's so big and run through people. He had to stand there in a little pocket and find a way to get the ball out to these minuscule receivers, okay, with an average offensive line in front of him. And he did it time and time and time and time again. It was so aggravating watching your team play against the Dolphins and what Marino could do to you. So he just passed the look test for me. And the records, he was just shattering records like there were no tomorrow. It's just like, wow, again, wow, what's he done now? This is unbelievable. He almost started this whole era of passing football in the NFL. Like, I think he was a big, big contributor to this idea that we throw the ball a lot more today than we ever have in the game of football. So
I do. And by the way, quick pivot here on Eli Manning, just real quick. He is 11th all time in passing touchdowns. He is 11th all time in passing yards. Okay. So I
what's
think
the interception thing? I think there's a bad interception.
there is a terrible interception. There's several. I'm going to point out all the bad things that are with Eli Manning, why I believe that now we're getting into some other areas where now we might get into some trouble here for him. So let me get this up here on interceptions.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that, like, I have heard the other side of the Manning argument. I refuse to kind of listen to it because I think he's a Hall of Famer regardless. He won those 2 Super Bowls. He beat the only team that had a chance to go complete, second team in the history of the game that had a chance to go completely undefeated through a season. And that season was even longer than the one the Dolphins went through since they played less games and they were less playoff games. So, I mean, everything was, this was the penultimate season. It was the penultimate team, and the Giants found a way to take them down. And Eli Manning was a big part of that. I just can't get past that. 2 Super Bowl MVPs living up to the moment in the moment. That freezing cold game in Green Bay against Brett Favre, where Favre looked like the old man and Manning looked like the guy who could handle the ice cold 20 below temperatures. Everything about what Eli did when it mattered is what Giant fans embrace him for. So he's a Hall of Famer. I don't tell me about his interceptions. Don't tell me about his QBR or whatever else you're going to pull up that isn't so flattering. It doesn't matter because he overcame all of that when it mattered the most, and that's what we all ultimately do care about. So going all the way back to that comment that I put up on the screen. He's right in one sense that, it does matter what you do in those big moments. There's no question that actually does matter. I just don't agree with the sentiment of you're not a Hall of Famer if you don't win championships. Go ahead.
Which I agree. Eli Manning, by the way, had 244 interceptions. That's the 12th most all time among quarterbacks.
Not great.
But there are several names ahead of him that have more interceptions that are Hall of Famers. Brett Favre, George Blanda, Fran Tarkenton, Johnny Unitas, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, Y.A. Tittle.
Marino has more interceptions.
Marino has 252. He has, again, another 8 more interceptions than Eli Manning. So, again, there are numbers to point out. This is what I would say. Here are both cases. Okay. The reason why you say, I'm not sure if Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Eli Manning, in terms of, and again, different people debate about this, are quarterback wins a stat? Is wins a quarterback stat that we evaluate? If it is, that doesn't look good for Eli. He has as many losses as he has wins. He's 117 and 117 as a starting quarterback. So wins, that doesn't look very good for Eli. Here's another one. Eli was never voted an All-Pro, whether first team or second team. What does that mean? What that means is at any point during his entire career, he was never considered one of the top 2 quarterbacks in football. Right. He was in a first team or second team. That means he was never considered the best of the game, which is also another thing we consider the Hall of Fame. So that's another thing that does not go in his favor. However,
by the way, I wouldn't dispute that either. I think that was true.
And I agree. You look at all the quarterbacks, Drew Breeses and the Tom Brady's, and there's a lot of really good quarterbacks throughout those times. But I think here's the thing, and you had just said it, Lurch. Can you tell the history of football without mentioning Eli Manning's name? And the answer to that question is a resounding no. Of course you have to say his name. He beat the New England Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. Without him, Tom Brady has, count this, folks, 9 Super Bowl rings. That is an unbelievable thing to say. 7 is already more than anyone, and that's impressive. Eli Manning prevented 2 of those from happening, and one of them would have been a 19-0 season, which would have been more than the 1972 Miami Dolphins for their win season, which is something you indicated earlier. So to me, I thought he was an unquestioned Hall of Famer and a first ballot Hall of Famer. But now that not only did he not make it as a Hall of Famer as a first ballot, he so woefully missed the Hall of Fame that now I'm starting to question, oh my goodness, is this what they think of him in the Hall of Fame? He may have trouble getting in, which is crazy. And you're on the modern ballot for 25 years. So Eli's going to have a long runway here of eventually, hopefully, getting pushed over the top. But to me, it's crazy how bad he missed it, because I thought it was clear as day. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl champion, top 11 in every major statistical category for a quarterback. And he played in the New York market, which I think can only help with his last name. There's just so many things going in his favor that, like, obviously he's going to make it. And now with how bad he missed it, I'm not sure when he makes it, which is crazy.
Well, Timothy was reading my mind because I was just going to jump into the Rivers thing. Obviously, Phillip Rivers not going to have to wait now that he's actually played football again another 5 years before he's back on the ballot. But Eli versus Rivers is a great comparison because Rivers is a little bit better statistically, but he doesn't have any rings. All right. And he makes the statement here, both are future Hall of Famers. And you know what, Timothy? I absolutely agree with you. I think both guys are Hall of Famers. But I think definitively Eli is, and he will now get in quicker, assuming he gets in,
Well,
because now
yeah,
Rivers
right.
will wait another 5 years. So
He does now have to
and the
wait another 5
championships will help Eli, I think,
would
with
think.
some of the voters. But I think that Rivers is also a Hall of Famer. He's a terrific player. And if he has any level of success here at 41 years old, that's only going to kind of add to his whole mystique that he came back.
Right.
5
He's
years
already
ago.
ahead of Eli Manning in all those stats, and he's only going to now continue to add with whatever
Crazy.
this run is. Wow.
Crazy. All right, man, this has been a show where we've gone in a lot of directions. A couple of the things that I do want to make sure we get to. Obviously, the Patrick Mahomes injury. I'm personally devastated too. Mahomes obviously is my fantasy quarterback, and now I'm about to
Drake
finally
May.
start playing in the. There's that thing, right? I had Drake May. I drafted both, kept them both on my roster. Both were playing incredibly well, and it was just killing me to have May sitting on my bench every week while I was starting Mahomes, who was statistically a little bit better than May most weeks. So I was playing the right guy. I was making good decisions. I drafted Mahomes earlier in the draft. I drafted May like at the very end. Nobody picked him up. I think got him in one of the last 2 rounds of our draft. So I got him at a very, very good price. Figured I always like to have a good backup quarterback. Had a lot of faith that he was going to develop this year. He did. And then we get, 2/3 of the way, a few weeks before the trading deadline. I'm like, all right, it's time to shop Drake May. It's time to see if I can do something here to bring one more good player to my roster. Now, look, I used Drake May and some other pieces to bring in Jackson Smith and Jigba, who I would have had no chance of getting without having those pieces in place. But now that he's gone, oh, man, am I going to miss him? So I'm going to be stuck in fantasy anyway, likely with Caleb Williams, who I later picked up off the waiver wire just to have a second guy, just in case, because you never know if you're going to have an injury. And Caleb Williams is going to have to carry me out to the end, which is not all that optimistic for me in terms of how this is all going to go for me. Fantasy championships here. I got to win 2 weeks in a row against some pretty stiff competition. It's not great to go in with a quarterback who you're not very sure of, but you just got to do what you got to do in fantasy sometimes. And I'm just going to have to depend on my big guns, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Josh Jacobs, and Bijan Robinson to just perform at the level that they're capable of performing at the right time. That's how you win fantasy. So that's what's going to happen for me. I'm going to need my big time players to step up big time for a couple of weeks. And either they are or they aren't. And if they don't, I'm going to lose. And if they do, then I got as good a chance as anybody to win. But it sucks when you lose depth like this. And when you lose a player literally about to roll into the fantasy playoffs, because I had a bye this week, so Mahomes wasn't even playing for me. So I didn't even get his stats from yesterday. I'm going to get nothing for him for the playoffs. But the more devastating thing, obviously, fantasy aside, is the fact that this guy is done for the season, that Kansas City is out. A lot of people, I think, happy about that, frankly. They've seen enough, perhaps. But now this leads into next year and what this is going to mean, because this is a pretty serious injury. So let's do a quickie on that. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm devastated in a way too, and I think here's why. I'm obviously not a Chiefs fan, but I love to hate Patrick Mahomes. When he was playing in a game, I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure I'm in front of I'm a freak. I'm in front of every playoff game, every NFL game. I watch every football game that I possibly can. So I would have watched it anyway. But there's an extra verve, like there's a playoff intensity when it's Chiefs Bills, when it's Chiefs Ravens. It is must watch television in the playoffs. I'm like, man, what are the Chiefs going to do? Is someone going to beat them? Are they going to keep winning as they always do? So that missing, guaranteed now because they're eliminated from the playoffs, that going to be missing for the playoff picture is going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. We're now going to have to come up with new teams, whatever those teams are, right? Houston has been in the last couple of years, so that's maybe a bad example. But, like Indianapolis, if they find a way to backdoor their way in one of those spots, or Jacksonville, who's this team going to be that all of a sudden, now that the Chiefs are gone, who's going to step up in the void? So it is crazy to have this face of the National Football League not going to be in the playoffs is terrible. I feel awful for Chiefs fans because the rest of the season is whatever because it's one singular run. But to be compromised heading into the following year, and Gardner Minshew's your only guy, and he's not under contract after this. What is your plan at quarterback? Who do you woo to Kansas City and say, hey, can you just sort of keep the seat warm for Patrick because we think he'll be back at some point in the middle of next season? Like, man, it's fascinating. Right. There's so many turns. Andy Reid has been considering retirement, some people have said. So now what does this Mahomes injury do to that timeline? There's a lot of questions. So, yeah, this is devastating, but now new teams have to step up in the AFC. We're going to get some fresh meat.
Tell you what else is going to be devastating: the Green Bay Packers without Micah Parsons. I mean, man, that was a non-contact. You saw his knee buckle. I mean, I don't think it's official yet, but it will be. He's getting the MRI today if he hasn't had it already, and Mike is going to be done for a bit here. That is a big, big blow. Obviously, they made that big trade to get him. So give me your thoughts on that. What does this mean for Green Bay, man? A lot of people, with the NFC being what it is, pretty wide open chance here for Green Bay to be the team without Micah. Can they be the team?
Yeah, well, two things here. First off, the Jets own the potentially Green Bay Packers first-round draft choice because of a trade with the Cowboys. So they get the best pick in 2027 between the Cowboys and Packers. Whichever one is higher is the one the Jets get. So this not only affects the Packers for this year, also affects them for next year. So somehow the Jets are always involved. I don't know why.
Well, maybe soon those picks will be with the Giants, and you won't have to worry about that. That's the way to sort of go.
I see. So there you go. So that's random selfish reasons. I feel awful for Micah because he's been the storyline of the season. All the drama all offseason. They get traded in this blockbuster deal to Green Bay. We all like, oh my goodness, Green Bay, they're the team. And then all of a sudden they've had all these up and downs with beating good teams, losing to bad teams. And you're like, what is going on? What are Green Bay? I don't know if the Packers can win it all without Micah. I think they needed Micah to separate themselves because I look at the Rams. I love the Rams. I look at Seattle. I look at 49ers. I'm thinking of all kinds of other teams in the NFC. Eagles, maybe, with their weirdness. I name a lot of NFC teams before I even think about the Packers, especially now with this Micah injury. This is devastating, terrible. The NFC North is completely shaken up. You have the Bears that are hounding after the Packers, obviously. The Lions take another one on the chin, losing to the Rams. So now their playoff destiny is incredibly complicated, too. This stinks for the National Football League. We're all losers that Micah's hurt because he had some wonderful moments this year. But, now one door closes, another one opens in the NFC.
And potential blow, although the early returns here are maybe it's not as bad as we think, although I think it's suicidal to think he's going to be out there on Thursday night. But that's Davante Adams, who had a little bit of a hamstring issue, was playing through it, and then on a long route kind of pulled up. Now, the question is, did he pull up before it completely, popped, as they say, with the old hamstring or not? It seems like maybe he did because he was offering all kinds of positive vibes after that game. Obviously, we didn't see him the rest of that game, but I mean, he's been a touchdown machine for the Rams. Later in that game, by the way, Puka looked like he got hurt, but he's okay. It seemed he got back in there and was playing. So, gosh, if you lost both of those guys, that would change everything for the Rams. Certainly, they can survive without Adams for a couple of weeks, as long as they have him back for the playoffs. I think ultimately that's really what the Rams should be shooting here for. But give me your thoughts on that. How big a blow would that be if indeed he's blown the hamstring out and he was lost for, a prohibitive amount of time here?
Yeah, there is with all due respect, I'm not a doctor, but there's no way he's ready for Thursday night. And that's too bad because Thursday night's going to be awesome. I mean, so much is on the line in this rematch between Seattle and the Rams, the number one seed, the NFC West, the 49ers, if the Seahawks win, control their own destiny to the number one overall seed. So there is a lot of drama here. Unfortunately, I think Davante is totally out for Thursday. If I'm the Rams, I agree. We had that in the comments. There you go. From Gohan Angered. He says, Adams, they might keep out to the playoffs. That's what I would do if I'm the Rams. Because hamstrings are tricky, man. And that can come back and get you. And Rams, while sure. Would you love the number one seed? Would you love the bye? Would you love playing it in SoFi? Of course. But the more important thing is winning the Super Bowl. And Davante gives you a much better chance to win the Super Bowl if he's on the field versus on the sideline with his hamstring wrapped up. So you should play the long game here. That's what I would do. They still have Puka Nacua. It's a pretty good receiver. And figure it out with the other guys that you have on the roster. Davante's super talented. I know he's been awesome this year. He was. I don't know what the injury now. Who was like leading the league in touchdown receptions. I'm not sure where he is now with that. But wonderful player. I respect, Davante Adams, like go-getterness. But no, I definitely don't see him playing on Thursday.
Yeah. Do you see a world now with May losing yesterday to the Bills that May wins the MVP now? I think that might have been the dagger there. I mean, still an outside chance, I suppose, but not getting it done in that way, in their own building, where they could have put the stake literally through the heart of the Bills and put them to bed. One of the criticisms of Drake May, and I think it's somewhat deserving, although I think he's been remarkable, but we're talking about MVP, we're talking about best player in the league here, is their schedule, and now they get a game that is a prime game, a big-time opponent, and they don't get it done. Not totally May's fault, played well, but in the end, his team doesn't get it done. Is that going to be held against him? Is he off your ballot for MVP? That's what I'm asking you, PG.
No, he's not off my ballot, but we talk about this in college, Heisman moments. So shout out to, again,
Good way
Heisman
to put it.
Mendoza, Fernando Mendoza, being our
Yeah,
Heisman
congrats to
winner.
Mendoza, by the way. Nice
Shalom
one,
over the
even
weekend.
mention, yeah.
Very nice. But no, there's these Heisman moments. And for the Patriots on Sunday, there was a Heisman moment available for Drake May to sweep the Buffalo Bills. If they would have won, we didn't talk about this all week. Shame on me for not bringing it up. If the Patriots had beaten Buffalo, they would have won the AFC East right then and there, would have officially been over. And they could have compromised the Buffalo Bills' chance to make the playoffs. Again, that wouldn't have killed them, but it would have really complicated things. And then the Patriots would have this Heisman moment. We swept Buffalo. Look at our record. We're being credible. They have a lot of easier games coming up on the schedule here. So, no, I don't completely write him off the ballot, but as I go back to Gohan Angered, to me, Stafford is the guy that has been the best quarterback all year. So I would lean Stafford at this point. Drake May has an opportunity, but now what he's going to have to do is big fish, small pond. When he plays the Jets, when he plays these other teams, I'll pull up the Patriots schedule in a second. Like, you have to destroy these teams. You have to, like, against the Jets and this defense, we'll see what changes happen with the defensive coordinator change, but I imagine Drake May and every other quarterback should be licking their chops against this Jets defense. He needs to now put up video game numbers. It's no longer about the Heisman moment of beating the quality opponent and putting that skin on the wall. It's destroying the little guy and putting up such insane numbers that it's unquestionable you should be the guy. So not off my ballot completely. He did miss an opportunity. He was at the plate. And I don't know if the bat came off the shoulder, but now they're telling him to get back in the dugout. So he did miss a chance to hit a home run.
Yeah. I'll say one thing quickly about the Rams here and their matchup coming up on Thursday night. A little more time to talk about it as we get closer. But,
yes,
I mean, Sam Darnold he's taken a step back here in the last
he's
few
falling
weeks.
apart.
I mean, that Rams game, he didn't look like himself. He didn't step up to the moment. That game yesterday, I know they snuck out with a win.
Yeah.
But he just and again I just scratch my head about how Seattle doesn't get JSN more catches. I know he had a good game yesterday, had over 100 yards and I don't know, 8 or 9 catches. He should have 18 catches because that guy he's a game breaker. Like, you just get the ball in his hands, throw to Shaheed down the field here or there, but Shaheed doesn't need all those catches. Get JSN the ball. You see it just when he runs a screen, when he gets a little slant, he just gets away from people. He's slippery. He's just a game changer. It's so frustrating when I see great players like this. It was the same frustration that I experienced when the Giants had Saquon, and I was just screaming at the television every Giants game. Would you please give the guy the ball somewhere other than between the damn tackles with a lousy offensive line and nowhere for the guy to go? Get him in space. Give the guy. He's a freak. He can just get away from people in a moment's notice. He could take anything for a touchdown if you get him in space and you give him the chance to operate. Give him a block or two, for crying out loud. And the Giants just refused to do it. It was so frustrating. And I'm seeing the same thing with Seattle right now, where Darnold is faltering at the wrong moment again, just like he did last year, ultimately in the playoffs with the Vikings. And this team that I had such high hopes for, they have a pretty good defense and everything as well, that obviously kept them in that game yesterday. You're not winning. You're not winning games by scoring 18 points on all field goals against cream of the crop team. So I know Thursday nights are an anomaly, so we'll see, because I never trust a Thursday night game for anybody. These teams are not prepared correctly. They're still too nicked up to be playing football, but we do it anyway because we love the entertainment. So I don't know if this is going to be a great game on Thursday night, just because I always worry about what the game's going to be like. But it has big implications for sure. And I just don't see Darnold living up to the moment right now. So I was on them. I was on Sam, and I was on this Seattle team many weeks ago. But since that Rams game and what I've seen since, I'm scratching my head again and going, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to get it done in a big moment. I don't see it.
I can't push back on a lot of what you said, but one area in which I will is we go to that Seahawks-Rams game that has been referenced several times. Sam Darnold threw 4 picks in that game. He was awful.
Terrible.
The Seahawks lost on a last-second field goal.
I know.
So despite Darnold giving one of the worst games of his career, they were in it. So if I'm a Seahawks fan, I say, all right, Sam, can you just not throw 4 interceptions? Oh, okay. all of a sudden, again, that's not always fair to do. If you just pluck this one thing, then this game is this, because a brand new game is going to be played on Thursday night.
Right. Totally.
But
different.
if I'm a Seahawks fan, that's the encouraging part to me. All right, Sam, just clean up your crap, and we're in this thing, man. We've got the team ready to go. So that's what I would encourage with that. And hopefully it is a great game, because again, it appears to be this great game on paper, with the storylines and the number 1 seed and the division title, and there's a lot on the line. So hopefully we do get the game that the Prince has promised here, because that has a lot of great possibilities.
Yeah. Any other big things you want to hit? I got this other stuff. I got a stack of stuff I want to show real quick before we get out of here too. Go ahead. What else you got?
Well, that's a big thing. So first off, what I would love to continue to plug is we're now up to 414 subscribers. So we are 11 away from doing free giveaways, folks. And again, we have 700 people in the room right now. So shout out.
This goes out the door. Beautiful Hanson
there you go.
Brothers autographed photo. Fantastic. The movie Slapshot. Gorgeous. All of them. Put this in a frame. What a cool collector's item. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let's reiterate what we're doing here for the 700 people that are in the room right now. Let's reiterate. So, okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Boy Green. That's Manchild. This YouTube channel is at MC Show Digital. We're streaming live in a lot of places. You could be watching us on Twitter right now, on my YouTube, on the MC Show Digital. But stop what you're doing right now. Go to that YouTube channel. We're literally 11 people away. There's 700 people in the room. That maths. Literally, you guys right now control what's about to happen. We're doing a lot of free giveaways. Free. Free. This isn't a spelling bee, but it's free. All you have to do is subscribe to that link on your screen. That is youtube.com/@MC Show Digital. Do it on your phone, your tablet, your computer, and we're going to give away a lot of free stuff. So Lurch, let's go back to you full screen. This is being given away in 11 subscribers. Go ahead.
Oh, you want? Okay, yeah, I'll give you back to the Hanson Brothers. So this is a Hanson Brothers autograph picture. I got this autograph myself. I was standing there, so this has been authenticated by me. You can get this authenticated if you need to, though. That's the 3 Hanson Brothers. That's their signature. There's a little insignia at the top because I was working for a radio station at the time. It says 2WSYR, old-time hockey. Thanks, the Hanson Brothers. And then each individual Hanson brother autographed that picture. All right, very, very cool thing.
And again, that's from what again, Lurch?
The movie Slapshot.
So there you go. The movie Slapshot. So
really,
again,
really cool. I know that's an old schooler for a lot of people.
No, I love that. So if you're one of our first 425 subscribers, so again, to make that clear, we're 11 people away. There's 700 people in the room. So one of you is 700. If you're one of the next 11, we will give that away on the show. Another one. If you're one of the first 450 subscribers, again, right now we have 414 subscribers, but that number is going to change live as we're here in the room. You have a chance to win this item. I'm going to go full screen myself. We're going to keep doing these free giveaways here on the channel. If you're a Jets fan, here you go. This is the 1972 New York Jets official yearbook cover. This is the real thing, and those are 2 Hall of Famers right there, Joe Namath and John Riggins. If you're one of our first 450 subscribers, you have a chance to win this. We're going to give this away. It's free to be eligible.
Back in the day, I see the $1.
I know, yeah. Do you see that? Isn't that crazy? Look at that. Fantastic. Look at that. Yeah, this has a little bit more value than $1 now, which is crazy. So there you go. So again, just subscribe to the channel on your screen if you're a Jets fan. You can have this for yourself. You could give it away as a Christmas gift. Christmas is just 10 days away. If you're one of our first 450 subscribers at that link, youtube.com/@MC Show Digital, you will be eligible for that giveaway. We're going to do another one at 475, and we're going to incentivize you because we're trying to get to 500 subscribers and more. 500 is monetization for us on the YouTube channel. We can do a lot of cool stuff once we get to monetization. So, guys, the power is yours, channeling my inner Captain Planet here. We're giving away free stuff. Enjoy, hopefully, the show and Hall of Fame debating and everything else we're getting here. And let's see if we could get there on the show. That'd be great, Lurch.
Look at some of this other cool stuff I found. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna whip through some of this stuff. All right.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's go full screen with you.
Yeah. I gotta go back from the camera here a little bit.
Oh, Arnie Palmy.
This is a really cool Arnold Palmer collector's thing. It's in plastic, so it's been well kept. It's not autographed, but it's an Arnold Palmer playing card, a cool Arnold Palmer picture, and then a little insignia here of Arnold Palmer. That's
with all his achievements. Right. Very cool.
And then along with that, I'll probably package that with this really nice black and white of Arnold Palmer. Really nice.
Great shot.
Not autographed,
Action
but
shot.
Awesome.
Yeah, great shot.
Of Arnold Palmer. So there's a cool Arnold Palmer thing. Check this out for the locals. All right. This is pretty cool. So we all know locally here in central New York who Mike Hart is. All right. You know who Mike Hart is. He's the all-time leading rusher of Michigan, by the way, still to this day. But he played at little old Onondaga Central and then went on and had a brief career in the NFL, including a stint with the Indianapolis Colts. So I've got this beautiful Mike Hart autographed.
Oh,
in his
wow.
Colts jersey.
Cool.
All right, that can go in a frame. That thing needs to be in a frame, not just sitting here, in my in a drawer. All right.
Oh, I know a Colts fan that would love
and then
that.
I'm gonna put all of these together. A Mike Hart rookie card with his autograph also in plastic still, so that's in pristine condition. And Mike also did this
cool.
nice little pennant for me. All right, so that's a Mike Hart collector's edition. All three items, I will connect them. We saw somebody. Who the heck were we talking to last week, Boy Green? You might remember.
Yes.
Who was flaunting? Was it? Oh, maybe. Oh, it was Neil. It was our buddy Neil Adler who does a Syracuse basketball stuff with us.
Yes.
And he pulled up a framed magazine that he had from when Syracuse won the national championship. And I said, I actually have a couple of those, not in frames. And I found them, Boy Green. Here they are. Sports Illustrated.
Oh, let me
cover,
go full screen.
Carmelo.
Nice.
Sweet victory the year
That's
that
sweet.
the Orange won it. This one was the one actually addressed to my house. All right. And then I managed to get a second copy when it came out. All right, so
awesome.
Pristine copies.
Oh, wow, look at that.
For the Syracuse basketball frame. Carmelo Anthony, and the only national championship that Syracuse basketball has. I have two of those that I'm willing to give away. I mean, you can go get those autographed by Melo. Actually, I'm sorry, I have three, Boy Green. I just found
three. Wow. Okay.
Three of those.
Let's go back over
all
there.
in absolute pristine condition. Perfect.
They look pristine.
They are.
Looks like you kept good care of it.
These things right. I keep these things in good care. Here's Mike Hart again.
Okay.
Maybe maybe I could package that up with the other Mike Hart.
Yeah, there you go.
Mike Hart on the cover of.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's beautiful.
There he
that's
is.
a nice.
Hand here.
Yeah.
The year of the running back, Michigan, the big run.
The big run for number one.
Mike Hart on the
nice.
cover of Sports Illustrated.
Awesome.
The local kid getting it done.
Yeah.
All right. So that's
So cool.
awesome. All right. This is one that Bud gave me years ago. Check this out.
Okay.
This is a Central New York sports magazine. They used to make a magazine here, the Post Standard, our local.
Oh, Jim Brown.
Jim Brown on the cover. Jim Brown feature in here.
I would frame that. I would frame that immediately.
Jim Brown in his Syracuse helmet
That's
all
so
those
cool.
years ago. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Mama. That's awesome. All right. And that's some cool. That's a magazine in pristine condition.
Yeah, it looks it.
Really, really beautiful condition. I've got the Floyd Little book. Promises. Floyd Green. Promises to Keep by Floyd
Our good
Little.
buddy.
All right. Lovely, lovely book. Floyd Little put out a book. And by the way, the forward in this book. If you can see it there, by the one, the only.
Tom Coughlin.
Right.
His former teammate.
Former teammate. All right. So he wrote the forward to this book, the Floyd Little book. And this book is indeed autographed by Floyd Little. All right. So so there's just some items that I found in the basement. Isn't that kind of crazy and cool?
So again, to make that clear, a lot of these items that we just highlighted are going to be more free giveaways. So if you subscribe to the channel now, you'll be involved for a lot of these giveaways we just said, but also for all the future giveaways. We're going to keep doing free giveaways. We want to give back to the people. We want to build a great community here at MC Show Digital. So make sure you guys jump on the train, baby. Let me hit the refresh button here to make sure where we are in the latest on MC Show Digital. Let's see. All right, we'll see. I'll check back in on the internet there. But guys, make sure you continue to jump on again right there, youtube.com/@MC Show Digital. And think about this, folks. Because of the 700 people in the room, we could make these things happen live on the program. So make sure you guys jump on the train. Let's get a little bit of a buzz as we keep heading here. We're 10 days from Christmas, Lurch. It'd be cool to start checking some of these off the bucket list.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Yep. All right, we currently sit at 4:15, so we're 10 away from the Hanson Brothers photo going out the door. So thank you, everybody that's jumping in on this. Appreciate it. And again, anybody that's been a subscriber, okay, I know a lot of you out there saying, I'm already subscribed. What am I supposed to do? Nothing. That means you're in.
You're in.
You're
in.
I'll tell you what you can do. Tell a couple friends, grab a few people, share out our videos with people and say, hey, subscribe to these guys. They're really cool. And they're giving away free stuff. All right. And if they jump in the pond, then, you can be responsible for helping your friend out. Or maybe you can make a little deal and say, hey, listen, so I got you in. But if you win, I'd like the next item, please. If you win it, you got to give it to me. So you can always make a little under the table deal, so to speak. Sure. All right. But that's what you can do at this point. If you're ready to subscribe,
you're in. And you will continue to be in.
You just spread the word. Spread the word.
And here's the thing. The quicker we get to these like levels, 425, 450, the quicker we give these things away. I don't want to hold on to this any more than you. Again, the 1972 Jets yearbook cover I just highlighted. As soon as we get to 450, boom, we're doing the giveaway. So, folks, make sure you jump on that. At 10 subscribers away from our next free giveaway here on the channel. So, guys,
you want to know the funny part of finding those items today was that I actually went down into my basement to find the Dan Aykroyd autographed harmonica. and I
Yes.
can't find it. I don't know what I've done with it. I've misplaced
no.
it. I'll find it. It's here. I had it in my hands like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago. So it's
Yeah.
somewhere in this godforsaken house. I must have moved it somewhere. I don't know where I put it.
I love
So
that.
I'll
'cause,
find it. I'll
that's
find the
terrific.
Dan
That's cool.
Aykroyd Blues Brothers autographed harmonica. What a weird
Wow.
off the
That's
beaten
cool.
trail. I know it's not a sports item, but it's still
Yeah.
pretty awesome and pretty cool. And I have a picture of Dan Aykroyd actually autographing it. So there's your
awesome.
authenticity. So it is
Beautiful.
obviously an authentic autograph. So very, very cool. For a musician out there or somebody that's an
Right.
artist, what a cool little item to have. And the harmonica is completely playable if you like to play
that's
the
cool.
harmonica, but it does
Sure.
have your signature on it,
Nice.
as does this little picture that I have as well. So
All right, real quick, Lurch. Let's answer a few questions before we get out of
Okay,
here. I'll go to
let's do that.
Keep It Simple RC first. Does Aaron Glenn dump his entire linebacker room next year?
Ooh.
He's talking about Quincy Williams, who is the brother of Quinnen. He's talking about Jamin Sherwood, who just got paid a 3-year deal for $45 million. That included $30 million in guaranteed money. And then there's Francisco Mauigoa, the rookie. I would say yes. I think the entire room gets blown up. It also depends who's the defensive coordinator. Does Chris Harris, who took over play calling duties, is he the guy next year? Maybe he likes some of the guys on the staff, but he didn't make those decisions on who was brought in. But my gut would say they blow it up. Quincy Williams, a free agent. God bless Quincy. I loved having you here as a Jet. I think he's set for greener pastures. Could just reunite with his brother there in Dallas. That would make a lot of sense. Who else? Jamin Sherwood. I think there was a lot of interest, or not I think, I know. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN joined me on my program last year before free agency, and he said, Paul, I'll tell you, there's 1,000 teams that are interested in Jamin Sherwood, and the Jets ended up keeping him. I think they could trade him to another team that still believes in him. So, yes, I think the entire linebacker room could get blown up. Let's throw this one to you, Lurch. Johnny Boy.
Johnny Boy throwing his question out to me.
First off, before we answer any question, prayers up to Johnny Boy. He's in the hospital right now as he's sending in questions and calling in. Yes.
I hope you're feeling well, man.
Yeah, an emergency situation. He's going to be spending a lot of time in the hospital for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. But despite being in the hospital and having surgery and everything else, he's been calling into my. He's been calling. He's been the first call on my show the last 3 days to ask about a random Jets topic. So massive props to Johnny Boy here. And again, love sent over to you, Johnny Boy. So let's get to his question because, Lurch, this is some of the debates that have come up here. For some of the teams that are ahead of the Jets in the draft order, the obvious thing is Jets just trade up to take the young player, but there are teams that have quarterbacks that they could move. Tennessee with Cam Ward. Do they reset, trade Cam Ward, and just take a quarterback themselves? The Giants with Jackson Dart, the Browns with Shedeur Sanders, they just trade off the quarterback and then start fresh with something new. Would you, knowing everything you know about Jackson Dart, would you take what the Jets currently have right now, Johnny Boy asked, the 5th over pick right now straight up for Jackson Dart, which obviously would be an upgrade. Jackson Dart was in the 20s when he was taken.
No. That's the answer to that.
Okay, there you go.
Flat out no.
Sorry,
no. I'm not 100% sure of Dart right now, as no one should be. He's played a very limited amount of games.
Right.
He's looked pretty good. He has a very distinct style that I don't think serves quarterbacks in the NFL very well. If you want a quarterback who's going to have any level of longevity, that scares the bejesus out of me. The fact that he continues to speak of it. Now, words are words and actions are actions. I care more about actions than I do words. Okay. And it is football and it's a rough and tumble game. And these guys don't play it, to step out of bounds all the time and slide and do things that are not indicative of everything that they've learned growing up around the game of football. But the NFL is a unique animal. The quarterback position is even more unique. And your value to your franchise must supersede that when you are talking about personal safety. It must be a piece of the puzzle. And Jackson Dart, at least in terms of what he's saying, is not indicating that he's willing to play ball in that world. And that's not good for me, for any fan of the Giants. I don't want to see Jackson Dart be the quarterback of the Giants for the next 5 years only. Be done with football by then because he's so beat up from all the hits he's taken, and probably only play in half the games because of the amount of concussions that he's likely to take by continuing to try to take on linemen, linebackers, and defensive backs flying at him from the other side of the football field. So if the Giants determine that Jackson Dart is just that guy, that he is, I'm a 5-year guy and I am playing as hard as I can for as long as I can and I'm out, then I have no problem with my organization going, you know what? maybe this guy isn't the right guy for our franchise. And as good as it looked here for this small sampling that we've seen, we need a guy that cares more about himself, okay, than this guy cares about himself. So that's where my worry is with Jackson Dart. So to me right now, he's not an untradeable, but I'm not trading him now. And I'm definitely not trading him for the number 5 pick because I think I have a franchise quarterback at the moment. So that's a risk for both me,
Right.
It's me playing the Giants here.
Right.
That's a risk. I understand because it could go worse for Jackson Dart. He could get concussed 2 more times next year, miss a lot more games, and then everyone will be not so high on him. And the Giants, aren't winning all that much. And then suddenly the idea that he's the franchise quarterback, maybe he's a franchise quarterback. And now that pick isn't even worth the number 5 anymore. People are like, I don't know if I want to give up a high draft pick in the top 10 for a Jackson Dart. This guy puts himself in harm's way left and right. So it's a risk either way. But I think it's just too early for the Giants, who have been struggling to find a guy. It appears they have a guy. This guy actually kind of fits the mantra of the city a little bit. He's got some
for sure.
Excitable. He's effusive. He's celebratory. All these things are good for New York. All right. And so I'm not willing to give that up. And I'm certainly not willing to give that up for the number 5 overall pick. So no.
And I think this is the
Giants to do what I said at the beginning of this broadcast, which is hold at number 1, play the scrubs for the rest of the year, lose out, have the number 1, and trade with the Jets and get some additional assets. And then you've got Jackson Dart plus additional assets. Let's say one of those assets is a first-round pick next year or in 2027, or 2028. All right. Now, if Jackson Dart goes bad, now if Jackson Dart gets out of, he's not doing the right thing, BG, now I can jettison him off and go get another quarterback. So I'm not going to do that this year, but I am going to look at it for the future because I'm concerned about where he is. So if I could get assets that protect me a little bit from my own guy, dare I say, because if he can't protect himself, I got to protect myself from my own guy, then I'd be okay with the Giants doing that. But hopefully it doesn't come to any of that, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
It's an interesting question, Johnny Boy, to consider. He asked, again, for those who are just joining us on the channel, would you take the 5th overall pick? He was asking Lurch. Would you take the 5th overall pick from the Jets for Jackson Dart, the quarterback? And I think this is a perfect situation where both sides say no. I think it's way too early for the Giants. They've seen enough to be intrigued, but they wouldn't want to give up on him.
Right.
And then the Jets, it's too risky. Jackson Dart puts himself in harm's way too often. I think he's really talented. And again, hey, it's better than what we have. But it's not a situation of, is it just better than what we have, or is he the long-term answer? From a Jets perspective, it's risky because he just had another concussion on Sunday, and he was able to clear it and come back, but he missed a key point of the game because of it. And especially his emphatic answers in press conferences where he's like, that's where I play. Hop on the train or get off. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. It's that cavalier nature about how he thinks about durability. My problem is by the time he wises up and changes his perspective, it may be too late. The damage may be done. The hay may be in the barn, as one former Syracuse running back used to say. So I think that's where that would get into some trouble.
Listen, Jack, Josh Allen puts himself in harm's way a lot in the game of football. And I love that. I love watching him play. I love the mentality. I love that he can take over in various ways in a football game. We were singing poetically, waxing poetic about Josh Allen earlier in the show today. But his size, the way that he takes hits, there are some times where I was like, get out of bounds, and he doesn't, but Dart has already taken hits that I haven't even seen Allen take in all the years that Allen's been in.
Yeah.
And he's not as big, with 30 or 40 pounds smaller, I think.
Not as tall.
Not quite as tall. That's the problem is you can't, it's the Cam Scatterboo thing. I mean, Scatterboo was wonderful for that little glimpse, it was almost like Linsanity,
Yeah, right. It was.
This little jitterbug who we thought was going to be the change-up guy. Suddenly everyone else is hurt. He's the starter. And look at that little guy go. Look at him running over people. Look at him doing stuff. And it was fun while it lasted. But did it last long, BG? No, it didn't. Because when you are his size, okay, he's not Derrick Henry, okay? He's Cam Scatterboo. He's a little mite of a guy. I'm not saying he's diminutive. I mean, he's not, he's not the size of Dave Meggett, Okay.
Right, it's
But
not
he's
Doug Flutie
smallish,
out there, but yes,
okay?
right.
He's smallish for his position and for the amount of punishment that he is putting himself into. You just don't last in the NFL doing that stuff. So I'm worried about Jackson Dart. I'm worried about Cam Scadaboo. I'm worried about this whole mentality of just, hey, there's a brick wall, run through it. No, run around it. That's the best way to do it. Run around it. That's
Yeah.
what you need to do. Stop running through it. When it's 4th and 1, you run through it. Okay. When it's 3rd and 6, you run around it. Run around it, please. Don't run
Yeah.
through it because you're just putting yourself in harm's way. So it's exciting in some ways. It's like football. We love it. The violence, the contact, all of it is so great. But when it's your players, and then when you see the damage that it does, you can't be for it. You can't be for it. Not if you want to have your team be anything for any period of time. If you want Linsanity, you can have you 3 weeks. It'll be great for 3 weeks. What did that Knicks team do that year? Win any championships? Win any playoff games? Do any real damage? The answer? No, no, and no. Was Linsanity fun? Oh, it was a blast. I got a Jeremy Lin jersey in my closet right here. I can put it on for you next show.
Yeah.
Did it change the history of the Knicks? Did it lead to a ring? Did it lead to longevity and greatness? The answer is no. And that's what this Dart Scadaboo feels like. It feels a little bit like Linsanity. So let's not have Linsanity, because Linsanity equals insanity. Is kind of what that is.
Yeah, fair enough. By the way, again, another shout out to the 700 people in the room. We just passed the 2-hour mark of this live stream. We're about to end the show, but to the 700 people in the room, I want to leave that text block up because it is the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right now to enter our free giveaways. YouTube.com/@MC Show Digital. By the way, breaking news coming in here. It is official. Michael Parsons did tear his ACL after the non-contact injury. That was just confirmed seconds ago. So that news is official. We did talk about that earlier. But good luck to all you guys out there. We're doing free giveaways on the channel. I see we have a bunch. A couple hundred are on my Twitter account right now, @BoyGreen25. Appreciate you guys no matter where you're watching the show. We do these shows all week long. Look at that. Come on now. So make sure you guys subscribe. Look at there it is.
This is a very cool nostalgia item. I know maybe some of you aren't hockey fans, but the Hanson brothers are legendary from that movie Slapshot. And this is a very unique thing to have their 3 autographs all on the same picture. That's really, really cool. Something that you
which
can
we're giving away 10 subscribers.
hang up in your man cave. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So again, we have enough people right now to do this right now live on the show. So you're 700 people that are watching. A lot of you on Twitter, jump over, open up. You can be on your phone, your tablet, your computer, however you're consuming this right now. If you hop on over to youtube.com/@MC Show Digital, or just search for the Manchild Show Boy Green Digital, will pop up that way as well. Hit subscribe, and you're in the running for our free giveaways. And we'll be drawing that winner. We'll be randomly picking them. And then if they live local, we'll hand you any of the items in person. If you live far away, we'll ship it to you. So that Slapshot one is being given away within the next 10 subscribers. So make sure you guys help us help keep this train rolling, baby. Yeah.
All right. For any that tuned in late, you can go back, watch the whole broadcast. We post it as soon as we're finished. Again, @MC Show Digital. That's our YouTube channel. And again, one last plug. Subscribe today, and you get a chance to win some of those free giveaways. That Hanson Brothers picture that I just showed you going out when we have, like 10 more subscribers. That Jets program, $1. I can't believe that thing was $1 back in the day. From the Namath days. Look at that in pristine plastic, beautiful. Get that autographed by somebody. You could still find Joe Namath and get that autographed.
And John Riggins, for that matter. Both are there.
Go do that. That'd be awesome. So another really cool collector's item. That's going out at 450 subscribers. All right. So we're on the march to 500, trying to get there as close to the holidays as we can. We still have a $400 golf club that's going to go out the door when we get to 500. That was donated by our friends at Played Against Sports, one of our many, many terrific sponsors. All right. For Boy Green, it's the Manchild. And thank all of you for tuning in today. We do appreciate it. We'll see you again live again on Wednesday at 11, our usual time slot. So you can join us there. Lots of other videos coming out your way. We're talking with Jake Asman again this week. We're talking with Ed Valentine again this week, our Giants insider. So we'll break it down. I certainly will get into a discussion with Ed tomorrow about, well, Ed, now that we lost to the Commanders, what say you about treating these last 3 games like their preseason games, and not necessarily trying to lose, but not really necessarily trying to win? That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think it's an innocent thought. All right, that'll do it. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.